The ceiling fans? They're very attractive.
The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Get ready, so get set, so hang on, so buckle up, so sit tight, so strap yourself in, so brace yourself, so keep your eyes open, so fasten your seatbelt, so stick around, so hang on, so get ready. You just have to be ready. Brace yourself. What you're about to see will open your eyes. The surprises never stop. So you better hang on. So get ready. So fasten your seatbelt. So hold on tight. So hang on. So get ready to get ready. And get ready to get real.
Clickety-click.
Crank up the music. Keep an eye on the back.
This presentation is provided to you to amuse or entertain and not to conform or inform. The content on this channel should not be used to replace professional, financial, medical, or legal advice. All footage taken and used from public sources falls under the Fair Use of the Digital Millennial Copyright Act of 1998. Therefore, no breach of privacy or copyright has been committed. This show is substantially sourced, not affiliated with any community, club, fraternity, or gang. Your cat may vary. I say, moo.
Mother tells her son the unthinkable. We can't keep our cat anymore. You must walk it deep into the woods and let it go. The son, distraught, goes ahead and listens to his mother and obeys and takes the cat deep into the woods. In fact, so far into the woods, when he finally comes home, he says to his mother, "Mother, I walked, as you said, the cat deep into the woods. In fact, so far, I got lost myself." And the mother says, "Oh my goodness, how did you get home?" And the son says, "I followed the cat."
Satellite tracking continues.
Wow. Wow. Hey, everybody. Whoop, whoop. It's Friday night. Once again, you're on the right side of the grass or the upside of the grass or the top part of the grass, however you want to look at it. You made it again. Pat yourself on the back if you can reach, or if you're not driving, or if you can, just do it safely. Really excited that we got to gather again tonight. It's been quite a crazy week over here at the fan house. And so I'm looking forward to tonight's show. Let me see here. Let me find the right button here. There it is.
Clickety click.
Hey, everybody. Good to be seen by you all. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a good week. And what a wonderful time to be able to gather again as a little group that we do and spread a little cheer, talk some conversations that most people don't want to talk about or listen to, and have a good time tonight. Because as we all understand, a lot of us are here because this.
I got nowhere else to go. I got nowhere else to
go. But before I get, I keep going to saying, now you got me doing a bunch now. And before I get any farther, tonight's conversation on the show, anyways, was brought on. Stop it! She's teasing me with the us. Was brought on because I was talking to this lady.
Rose, 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 Rose.
Enough of that. Hi, Rose. You going on?
It is it's so great to be back, and it feels like it's been way too long. But you cut out. What did you just ask me?
You can put your camera on, or
I'm incognito off camera for everybody's safety.
I hope she's joking. Okay, well, I'll talk to a flower tonight, I guess. No, that thing. Shoot, I made that because we've had conversations, quite a few of them on the internet, did some Bible studies together, and I made that thing, and I think it goes on for like 2 full minutes, so I wasn't going to play it all. But that's back when I used to make. I mean, my clips now are way shorter. But yeah, so we were having a private conversation about. Well, it turned into about God, so that's why the thumbnail. And so we have some really interesting discussions and stories to bring up about that. And I find it really fascinating. So let me just paint the picture. I was extremely busy this week, and I'll get into that in a second. But I was extremely busy this week, and I really didn't have time to like cut a new joke and go, because I have to come up with it and then record it and then edit it. Anyways, so I took a joke I'd used, like I think even with you on this show maybe 4 years ago or something. But most people haven't seen it. I've got a lot of new people in the audience. And so I re-edited it and put it in there. And it's this joke about a lost cat. And of all things, I think was it Val in the audience was saying that she lost her kittens tonight and hope they come home.
Oh my goodness, that's so terrible.
We were doing that yesterday. We came home, we couldn't find our dear Sarah, and she was, I don't know, she was just messing with us because we were gone most of the day. So I think she was like saying, well, see how you like it kind of thing, But it's so funny that so we were doing that yesterday. Of course, a lot of cat owners deal with that. And then Val was saying that her cats got lost or something. And then the joke of the show from 4 years ago that I decided to put in tonight is about a cat getting lost. Isn't that interesting? I just found that kind of weird.
Absolutely. There's so many synchronicities happening lately. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, dear God. Val's a he. Okay. I have
We're
to.
so sorry, Val. Like Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer is such a masculine person. So we just thought it was, we made an assumption that Val was short for Valerie, right? Isn't that what we both did at the same time?
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
If your name was like just Val, then I would be like, oh, Val Kilmer-ish.
Yeah. So
no, I might still think it was Valerie. I'm so sorry, Val.
Yeah. Here.
Someone should get fired over this, right?
Sorry, Val, but yes, we're all praying that your cats find their way home. Like the joke. I don't know. It's just wild to me when things like synchronicities just seem to connect, and they're happening more and more frequently. And and so that's how this show came about, because we're going to discuss some of those.
There's a lot of synchronicities I can think of in your life, but they're not my stories to tell. But I have so many computations of the agony and the ecstasy of life in your world. So I just hope that you bring it up yourself, so I'm not like Roger Rabbit when it does hair and a cut. What does it go? Shave and a haircut, and he can't help but go the boom boom. So I want to put the pieces together and show the pattern recognition, but luckily I have my own things to bring to the table too, if you don't remember all of the things about your life recently that are synchronistic.
That's very true.
Okay. So let's see. Where do I start? I don't have anything for here. I do have something. Here we go.
Breaking news with Ceiling Fan Man. Take it away, Ceiling Fan Man.
Thank you, Ceiling Fan Man. So here's the breaking news. It sounds weird to even say it out loud because I'm way too youthful and handsome. But I became a grandpa yesterday, and
congratulations! And what would Jesus do? He would say, Mazel Tov.
Right here, he would do this. So it's a really funny thing to say, oh, I became a like I didn't do anything. I just picked up the phone call and went out and visited. They did the heavy lifting, or at least my daughter-in-law did. So yeah.
No, but let me say something that did happen.
Please.
Now that your daughter, okay, so you remember some transformation that happened inside of your soul when your daughter was born. And now you know and have that mental collaboration with her, that she knows everything that you felt. And now she's feeling so sorry for anything that she ever did to make you tormented. and she's going to understand. You have a mutual understanding. You're both parents. I think that's the coolest thing about being a grandpa, is that your own offspring realizes the position that you were in when you were raising them. Isn't that an interesting way to think about it?
Okay, I'll go with that. You on board with that, Jeannie? Right. It's a son. It's my son.
Well, that's what I meant, but you said something about her. She's the one that gave the
She
birth.
did the heavy lifting, he just kind of witnessed it. Although he did say some funny things. He was like, because he has, unfortunately, he retained some of my sense of humor, I guess. And he was telling her while she was in labor, he's going through male sympathy labor pains. And he told her she wouldn't understand because she's not a man, and how difficult it is. I thought that was pretty fun. I'm surprised he didn't get hit over the face, but yeah, it's pretty funny. And so he had a boy. So lineage of boys continue. So
I understand what he said. Oh my gosh, I feel like I get him, and I'm not surprised because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But the thing is that everyone focuses so much on the pain and everything that a pregnant woman has to go through for such an extended length of time, that he doesn't feel like confident to complain, because relatively speaking, he feels like his empathy pain is invalid. But I know how much my heart hurts when I think about things that make me feel sad. And so I commend him for voicing that. And I acknowledge his empathy pains, because it's really scary. Like, for example, I use a wheelchair. So people who like have a hangnail, they don't want to complain to me too much. So kudos to him for expressing it, because all it means is that he has empathy and that he cares and that he's a good person and he just feels for it. And so when he said she wouldn't understand because I'm a man, it's because he is in fact experiencing something totally separate that his wife doesn't understand. She understands the pregnancy, but she doesn't understand the empathy pain from the man.
Sure. Yes. Here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. My goodness, it was something. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I'm sure he did it as a joke, but you're right. Maybe part of it was he was I don't know. I don't want to get too deep in the sauce on that one, but yeah.
Well,
so
I'm a men's rights activist, and I think that men are equal to women. And so that's always part of my spiel, is that we can't minimize men who are great. And he also played a role in the offspring coming into this existence.
You're right. And Val, he says we should put rims on your chair. Do you have rims? Spinning rims. That'd be cool, right? The ones that
spin.
Right?
Some people do have them, and I would feel bad because some of the ones I've seen, I feel like there needs to be an epilepsy warning on them, and it's almost hypocritical because they're disabled people that might be giving someone an epileptic seizure, because as the rims are spinning, the wheels are spinning too, and you can get a little bit dizzy.
Okay. So no spinning rims, but some other type. So.
Yeah, like the ones that are like metal that are shaped like flames.
Or chrome, yeah.
I don't even know what that means. That's how ignorant I am. Is chrome a gold or a silver? Is it ghetto or...
Chrome is chrome. It's like that silverish color.
But is there a stigma with chrome? Is it related to... Does a specific race... Is there a stereotype?
I don't know. What we're good. This is supposed to be the intro. It's supposed to be the real quick topic. Hey, everyone, how's it all doing? And then we get in the show. But see, this is what I knew. I told my wife I haven't had a chance to really prepare 1,000 tabs like I normally do. But no, when I was going to talk to you, I have no problem, because neither one of us have a problem talking. We can take 2 minutes and stretch it out to 50, so.
Well, it's supposed to be about God, and all of our conversations are random, but do pull around to God. And that's the funny joke I'm about to make right now, which is that we all know that he's using me as a filler. It's a filler episode. I'm the filler guest, but Crow was the filler guest for Eddie Bravo, which is the segue into.
All right, you're jumping ahead. Don't get that. Okay, that's a teaser, but we're going to discuss that in a minute. Okay.
Sorry for the premature joke.
Okay, there's a pill I think you take for that. Let's see. Oh, and I did make this for you because I was afraid. Rose is so into animals. The joke is about taking a cat and walking into the woods, and sure enough, it seemed like It must have been you that turned me in the ASPCA because I got this. I had to do this public service announcement.
Receiving and unscrambling satellite messages.
Hi, I'm just some random person that you like on other things and enjoy listening to me. I'm here to tell you how to live your life better. If you have friends that tell jokes about leaving cats in the woods or other animal cruelty jokes, let them know it's inappropriate and make them stop. Do it for the animals. Help us. Won't you?
Satellite tracking continues.
Bravo. I know I influenced you because I told Jeannie recently that you belong in theater, and you definitely played the role of the animal rights white lady on the infomercial at 4 a.m. role. Congratulations. In the arms of the angel.
You know what? You'll probably give me a copyright strike. You know, I sang, it was a long time ago, probably at least 6 years ago. And the Silent Wife and I decided on a New Year's Eve. We had a few Oreos, as I call them, back then. And we went and did a live stream where I was singing. We were both, but it was mostly me singing along to Phil Collins, I think it was. Wasn't it? Yeah, I Don't Care Anymore. And they took it down for a copyright strike because, you know, my pipes, they're so amazing. And they must have thought it was Phil Collins.
That happened to me too. I played Moonlight Sonata on the piano, and then I got not a copyright strike, but like I, have to share rights with Beethoven. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've arrived. Hey, Cult of Con, thank you so much. It means so much to me because I go places and I really have no idea if anyone cares. So it warms my heart. But honestly, this is the best show on Friday to be. And I'm just so I am honestly honored that anytime you invite me on your show, because it's just a tribe of goodness, just good vibes and looking towards the truth. And like you said at the beginning, discussing things that people don't want to look at, which is, I feel like I'm being in a funny way, I'm like rushing you to get to the serious stuff when I'm so silly and part of the procrastination. So lead the way.
I don't care. We'll go as long as we need to. I don't care where I got to go. I got nowhere else to go. What about you?
Nowhere else to go.
That's right. That's right. And I also found it really funny. These clips that I play, especially the ones at the beginning of the show, people were starting to say the lines before I hit the clip. Like they're getting it down, like clickety click and get that guy that says get ready and stuff. And I don't know. I find it funny. We're all individuals. It's fun to watch it happen in the chat before I get to hit the button. So yeah. And that's not all like one intro. If anybody's wondering, I literally have, well, as you all know, I have so many buttons, but to start the show now, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, usually, sometimes 12 before you get to the music. So I don't know. I don't know why I do this. I make it more difficult than most people, but it is what it is.
I think you and I thrive on attention to detail and multitasking and figuring out how to make things efficient. And it definitely shows in your work. So quick on your feet. If only if I was able to hack into your StreamYard so that I can gain access to all your little clips, I wouldn't be able to duplicate the magic that you bestow. Not to use magic in a magic-y way, but magic in a God divine, that you have a human consciousness that's individual because you were created and designed to be special. A special grandpa.
Well, thank you. But if you watch the show enough, as people will attest to, I rarely find the buttons as quickly as I seem to be finding them tonight.
That's very true.
I stumble around for the buttons because, when you have 100, it's hard to find the one you want.
But then you're smart enough to have a clip that says clickety click. You've thought of everything.
And again, that was once again, you want to call it Holy Spirit.
Clickety click.
I mean, the fact that he says clickety click, like I was just saying it as I was looking for buttons. I was like, okay, clickety click. With StreamYard, there's so many things you have to click to get to the thing that you want. And so I went and I looked that up, and sure enough, there's a guy in a white coat even. So it's just the way it works.
Are we ever going to talk about signs from God?
Well, eventually.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. And one other thing I want to mention to people. Let me screen share. My wife is still recovering from a couple weeks ago. And so she put an email out there where there's a few soap orders that she didn't get out this week, but that will go out next week. And if you do want to order some of the most amazing soap ever, give her an extra week or whatever, but she'll get it out to you. And she always throws some extra stuff in there too. So don't worry, but it is coming. So appreciate anybody that has help.
And to forget to talk about my soap experience. And then I called you to talk about my soap experience, and we got so caught up in talking about the other experience that you haven't even heard my soap experience. So you'll hear it live.
Okay. You want to do the soap now, or do you want to do it later after we talk about
No, the soap is last priority compared to the entirety of our souls.
I was going to do the tabs and stuff first and all that.
No, let's do tabs.
Okay.
I want to do everything in the order. This is your show, and we have to do in the chronological order of how your show's formatted.
All right. I like it. Okay. Is everyone ready?
Everyone!
All right. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Where should we start? We start here. And thank you, anybody. And if you're here, and if you've been here before and you enjoy the show, or if you're enjoying it tonight, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps out everything, algorithms, all that stuff. So thank you very much. And let's clickety click over to here. We are streaming tonight on Rumble and also on Rockfish. So, but most of the audience usually is over here on the YouTube. Okay, this one I didn't even show Jeannie. I need to have you help me take this picture. I have to do this. Can you see that down there? Is that the greatest?
Sarah? I don't know why I just heard myself. But why am I hearing myself?
All right, you're echoing. I'm not hearing. Is anyone else hearing echo? Okay. All right. Is she there? She's gone.
I'm afraid to because I can hear myself.
Are you wearing headphones? I don't know. How are you miking yourself?
I'm using the intern. Get out of here.
They're saying you're echoing.
Yeah. Annoying.
If I screen share, you're going to echo. I don't know. And she's gone. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll continue through the tabs, and I'll keep an eye out for her backstage. How do I do that? Let's see. All right. Hold on, everyone. Technical difficulties. Okay, I don't see her back there, so she'll come back. They always come back, right? Okay, so anyways, yes. You need to help me out with this, hon. I really want to get that photo. We have a black cat, of course. Everyone knows Sarah, and I think that'd be hilarious. So there's that. You can see I don't have that many tabs tonight, so it's okay. And this one, I just wanted to put this information out there because those of us that are, old grandpas like me, we still have some like rolls of film, and there's even some like negatives, and maybe you don't know what the pictures really look like. And so I haven't tried this, but if you put this against the screen of the machine there, and then you do your photoshopping where you change the negative to positive kind of thing, you can bring back a photo and get it in your computer just from the negative. So there's no joke to this. I thought it was good information to share. in case anybody wants to try this at home. So there you go. I don't know who he is, but he was the example. It's kind of like the frame where you get the picture of the people in it. But anyways, thought that was pretty cool information. So we got to stop now for a second and see if she's here. No, she's still not there. Okay. Oh, wait. I think she's back. There.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Well, it's when I screen share, so we'll know once I screen share.
Okay.
So, but since we had to pause the screen share anyways, I was able to catch, where is it? Jen just decided to get here tardy.
I don't feel tardy. I don't feel tardy.
So there you go.
Hey, Jen, what's up? You're the best. I love you so much. And I'm so glad you're here to listen to the stories that we have to tell after the tabs.
After the tabs. Now, did that echo, everyone? We good?
Test.
Sounds mint? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Money. Sounds like money. Show me the money.
Okay, sounding good. 5 by 5, we're good. Okay. All right. So let's go back into the did you see the one with the cat? I got to do that with Sarah. I think that was hilarious. It looks like Batman.
Well, I was going to ask you if Sarah's the type of cat that would stay on your head for more than 3 seconds, and you have to make sure that you arrange it so that the camera's already available for Jeannie to click.
Yeah, she's gonna have to be in front of me with the camera, the iPhone, or whatever, and I'm gonna have to grab Sarah and just put her there and get the shot, and then try to do a dismount without, like, losing part of my scalp. So yes, that's what we'll have to do.
And face. She also has paws in the front as well as the back. So
yeah. But you know what? I don't know. She likes me. I don't think she would do that to me. But
well, you have to. I say that you what's the word? You use something as bait, like a treat, to slowly. So you start by putting a treat on the back of your neck, and then you put the treat up and higher, and you just feed her the treats until she's all the way over. What? And then you click the picture.
No, I'm just going to do it really fast. I'm not doing any trees or whatever you're saying.
Have fun with that and get back to me, and then we'll try my way and we'll see who was right.
I'll tell you what, I'll even if it turns out that the pictures are terrible and I end up with scratches all over my face, I'll show that picture too. How's that?
We're going to do a side-by-side comparison. Your strategy versus my strategy with the treats. Please let me know in the chat if you think that using these treats as bait to get the cat to climb on to be a Batman mask is less violent and dangerous for our friend.
All right, so there we go. And it looks like I'm wearing a fez. Are you talking about the satellite behind me? That's kind of funny. I guess so. It'd be a real big one, though. Aren't they? Yeah. Anyways.
Oh, by the way, Russian Vids just uploaded a video about whatever his opinion is on the fight between Elon Musk and Trump, and I wonder if one of your tabs was about that.
Oh, yeah, I'm in there too. All right, let's keep going. Let's finish these tabs up here. Clickety click. Here we go. And let's see. All right, so we got that one. This one I just thought it's just because I actually did a show with you, Rose, if you remember, that was about society and what's exactly. So I thought this is a pretty interesting juxtaposition that they've created in our society, that being dependent on a husband that loves you is not a good thing. You need to be an independent woman with your own job, and being dependent on an employer who hates you, now you're happy, right? I mean, it's clearly the upside down backwards world that we're living in.
The echo is when you're screaming, so you have to stop in order to ask me.
I didn't hear any of that. What happened? Are you echoing?
Yes. Is your screen sharing? I will talk while you screen. If you're screen sharing, I can't talk. I don't know why you're experiencing this issue. I've never experienced this before. It's very abnormal, and we're live, so I don't know.
I've never had this issue before.
Yeah, It's weird, and I don't like it. It's not fair.
Let me see. Audio. I have echo cancellation on. Huh.
But it's not supposed to matter when you're screen sharing. I mean, I screen share all the time while I'm having discussions. Think of all the times you're looking at pictures with Jen and talking about it while you're sharing. So I don't know what you did.
Put my headphones on.
You could do that, or we could figure it out later. And in the meantime, I can only speak when spoken to.
All right. Let me see if this helps. Here, say something. You there?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Say something. All right. So let's see. We'll see if this does anything. My goodness.
Clickety click.
Well, I really feel like I've gone back 10 years with you. I haven't worn headphones on the stream in forever. Okay.
We're being nostalgic.
So now see if it echoes.
Nope, can't talk. You talk, I'll be quiet. And then
So
when you're not.
So it's not me, it's you, as they say. Okay, fine. Let me take this off of this. Because I'd rather not have to wear those if I didn't have to. Don't worry, everyone. We'll fix this and post edit. You there? Oh, wait, you can't talk. Knock once if you're there. No, here. Where is it? Are you there? Say
Yes, I'm hearing it. As long as you're not sharing, it's fine. So I'm okay with you. You're the host. You share the tab, and then when you click the X on the tab, I give a spiel, and then you share the next tab. Let's adapt.
We'll try this. We'll see how this goes. Hope everyone's enjoying the show. Oh, hola. Hola. Okay, where are we at?
And I should mention to everyone in the chat that while he's figuring this out, I got my main channel reinstated that had been terminated for 4 years. So I would love it if you would give me a chance to be one of your subscribed channels. And if you hear me talking to a crazy person, my thing is just trying to talk to as many crazy people as possible to figure out why they think the way they think, because I've realized that everyone's crazy in their own way. So if you do hear me talk to someone who you think is crazy, just try one more and they're probably going to be completely different. And then you can decide whether to unsub. But yeah, here I am, just like a politician. Give me a chance. Check out my
and I'm not here to validate any particular guest or anything she talks about on that show. I'm just saying I've had many wonderful conversations with Rose. So buyer beware at that point.
So what you're doing here is you have a calling, you have a mission, and you know the truth that you found, and you are going to continue promoting that on a regular basis here, where mine's kind of rapid fire, chaotic, grabbing people that I can lure into my lair and interview them and give them the opportunity to answer my questions in a way that doesn't make them feel defensive. And then it's also an experiment to see how people react in the chat. And, it's just a different kind of thing. But I would never try to be like you, because no one can be as good as you.
Oh, please. Okay. All right. I'm going to screen share. So you're muted, I guess. This sucks, but okay, let's do it this way. Okay. So we got that one. And this one, I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember this amazing movie that was on. I saw it on TV as a kid. It was called The Man with Two Heads. And it was Rosie Greer, who was a big football player, who's very dark skinned. He's well tanned. And this other dude, some old white guy, I can't think of his name. I think he played Ironside, whoever that guy is. I've lost most of the audience at this point. But the premise was the old white guy was dying. And so they sewed his head onto the other guy's body. And they were going to then cut his head off. Of course, they didn't. And that's what makes the movie. I don't know if it's Raymond Burr. Thank you very much. Is he the Ironside guy? I think he is. Yeah. So I almost got there. But that was the premise of this ridiculous movie. But now, of course, what they say they're going to do and what they're actually going to be able to do are completely different things. But supposedly there's this robot machine called the Brain Bridge, and they're going to take the head off of one person and stick it on another, or I think a synthetically made body, or who knows what. You know what I mean? They just constantly come up with all these different things that they're going to do in the future. Meanwhile, by now we were supposed to have flying cars And that's obviously not happening. And so if they're ever going to do this, I don't know, but I just thought it was interesting. And now here's Rose's side of this story. I'll stop screen sharing and now she may speak. I don't know if this is going to work, Rose.
I know. It's because it's hard to remember all the things I want to say as you're sharing. But
Right.
Is there anything I may answer for you about the information that you just shared?
What's that? That we need to keep our heads on straight?
Wait.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah, he was in... No, Rear Window was Jimmy Stewart. We're getting all confused. Oh, wait, he was the dude that attacked his wife. He was in it. I take it back, Ubicon.
And also Christopher Reeves. Christopher Reeves, depending on your opinion and memory.
He did it too? Oh, he did a Rear Window? Yeah. I think. Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, maybe a remake. They did a remake called Disturbia at one point. It was pretty much the same movie. But anyways, we're way off topic once again, but that's just how we roll. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to make a roll joke with you, but anyway.
It's not a joke. It's just a literal reference. That's how I exist. I roll. Like that would be like if I was like referencing walking and saying, oh, sorry to talk about walking around you since you're a walker.
Is it 8 o'clock yet, hon? I think I'm done. Okay. Yes. So let's see. Where were we? Let's finish up these tabs because it's gonna take forever if I have to keep stop sharing.
Well, why don't you pretend it I'm not here? You can even get through the tabs and give your commentary on the tabs and then bring me back and we'll talk about the subject matter that we were planning. I'm here for it. I'm a fan of yours. I love watching as an audience member.
All right. Well, here we go then. And here we go. Okay, so enough of that. And I thought this one just made me laugh on so many levels. Of course, this is what actual mainstream real news is saying, that now P. Diddy, which is another big joke, the guy's name is P. Diddy for what he's on trial for. But let's move past that. P. Diddy's trial is going on. Those trials where they say they're going to put someone in jail, they never do. Well, his is going on right now. And in a stunning reveal, Mike Myers apparently has secret ties to the CIA. I mean, there's so many way. I don't know. Do you know you're doing the Mike Myers routine right now? I don't know if you knew that.
Am I told you?
Hang on. Hold on. Yes.
So I can't, it just goes to show what a joke things are. I called so many people when I heard about this affiliation to the CIA with Mike Myers, because it's like, even though what they're talking about is referring to after Austin Powers, you and I both know that he was connected all the way back in 1997 when he was doing the movie. So it was a big poke in the eye.
Yeah, right. The Black Eye Club. But that's the thing. We've talked about it, and there might be new people here, but basically, if you're someone that's famous enough to be that recognized, I mean, I have a very tiny audience, but if you're like nationwide or worldwide kind of fame, you can't get there unless you're allowed in there, and you can't be allowed in there unless you agree to things that I will never agree with. So I'll always stay probably right around these numbers, but that's okay. I'm here for the good times. What's that? Yes, the Crow show has, I guess, a lot of episodes on that kind of thing, on the Freemason thing.
Oh, too many to count. So much. If anyone cares, just give me a contact. Contact me through the website. Anything you want, I can provide links.
I had a little video that I could share that I made. Let's see. Clickety click.
And you did an episode too?
I did. I was on the Crow Show. That's right. I was.
My dream come true.
It was my dream come true.
I learned a lot from that episode, and I was really glad that you got to,
Well, that's really nice of
That
you.
was part of the archive, because I mean, you're someone that I think is very important, and I want people to hear your voice. And so it's kind of like I'm putting a quilt, like a patchwork of together of people, and you're a shining, bright crystal, just like on the plate of armor with the information in the Bible. What was it called? The breastplate with the crystals.
Well, Aaron, you mean talk Aaron's breastplate, I guess.
Yeah. You're one of those gems that make you're like part of a recipe that just makes a good meal.
All right, that's enough.
I'm just celebrating the fact that you're a grandpa, and it's so amazing, and it's such a fabulous night. We have to celebrate. You need to be more excited.
Okay, well here I'll play this little thing in the video of the signs, because it's all one group. They all work together. We're going to talk about the whole Elon and Trump fight that's going on. It's like you can't get away from it, no matter what's news or news you don't listen to.
This is what I think. Hold on. This is what I think.
Yeah, tell me.
Before you play, I'll say the thing, and then you do the thing, and then you say the thing. So I think what happened is that Donald Trump was texting with Elon, and he was like, "I'm so sorry about all these liberals who are hurting your cars and all of the damage that's being done to your Tesla company." And then Elon was like, "Yeah, it sucks, man, but we're bros, no worries." And he's like, "But how about this? It's really good when people like drama. So why don't you just go online and pretend that we're in a fight and say that all these crazy things, accuse me of being in the Epstein files, and then two birds with one stone, people will stop keying all the Teslas. And on top of that, they'll demand the Epstein files because they think they're doing it because you're in it, but it's just all part of the plan that maybe he's not. So it's just their way of screwing with people to get them to do what they want to do for the next act of their play."
See, I wasn't ready. Where did they go? Here.
True. Yep. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. But yes, that's what I believe too. Here, I'll click through these two tabs that I had, and show you that little video. So yeah, so this is the supposed timeline. Oh, thanks. They're best buds, and he starts Doge, which happens to be the same thing as that stupid dog he has, and what's that? Kitty's behind you. Oh, she is. Come here, you. Okay, emergency stop. There she is. Can we do it? Let's see. Ow.
See, I told you I'm right. I'm right. I'm right.
Oh yeah. Who's right now?
Well, you didn't have the picture ready. Oh, screenshot. Taking screenshots. No, wait. One more time. Time. Please do it one more time.
Are you kidding? I'm not getting her back. There's no way.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I'll have to do it off air. There's no way.
Let's see.
I grabbed the moment. That's all I could do.
Hold on. I have screenshots. Let's see how they look. I got you. I got it.
Oh, you did?
I got it. Hold on. Let me crop the picture. I'm going to crop the picture and text it. Or I can share it. Okay, yeah, that's also.
Or just you could share it. Yeah. That's funny. Well, I proved myself right. I was able to do it. So there. I didn't have to do any of those treats and treats.
Maybe it's the wisdom you get from being a grandpa. Right, hold on. I have to crop it just so it's like that meme. You're looking too happy, though, not serious like that.
I am happy, though. I mean, I have a grandson. Well, of course I'm happy.
I know, but it's just the only difference between you and this other meme is that you are not smiling and Batman's very serious. So you're the
right. Oh, you're right. I screwed it up. See, she did her part and I did it wrong. You're right.
You did a great job. I think you still won, so to speak. Like because you did accomplish it. It's just that we didn't discuss in advance the directing of how you needed to keep your face despite the pain, chaos.
Yeah. And I didn't take my glasses off too. There's a lot going wrong, but we'll fix it in post edit, right? With Photoshop.
Or next time, am I showing my screen?
Let's see. Here we go. Oh God, that's funny. I almost got it. Look at that.
Except for the smile. You should be looking like you're trying to fight crime.
Yeah. And I needed to move her over a little bit and cover my eyes. I'll get, you know what? I'll work on it. I bet we can get there.
Let's make an appointment and try it one more time. We'll be off air. We'll make sure that everything is chill. We'll put on some chill music for the cat, or maybe sounds. Well, anyway, we'll discuss it.
You're getting way too involved with that now. So it was pretty close, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I did get involved in considering I got the meme for you.
Yeah, good job.
I involved.
Okay, let me get rid of these tabs here. We were discussing clickety click. We were discussing Elon and Trump and how they were best of buds, and whatever. And then of course he does his Nazi salute thing, and he brings his kid, and then they start setting Teslas on fire and destroying them. And then, of course, he goes and he buys a Tesla like he's, what kind of president advertises these companies? And is it just me, or is this makeup getting even worse?
Well,
what is going on?
As Russians would say, remove the screen. Remove the screen. Just click remove.
Well, it'll be a
just
minute.
click remove.
Let me finish this up.
Sorry,
you hold that thought, I guess.
Sorry, go ahead.
All right. So then of course, everything's happy and sappy, and he gives him the key. But then the thing happens where he doesn't like the bill, and nobody should. I mean, was it $5 trillion? I think this new budget thing is. I mean, he keeps talking about budget cuts and putting people in jail, and he's not doing any of the things that he said, just like other politicians. And so the people that are just still 100% for this guy, you got to at some point realize you're being played, right? We're supposed to go and look in Fort Knox and find all the gold. That didn't happen. We're supposed to release the Epstein files. Of course, that didn't happen. We're supposed to all these things that they say they were going to do didn't happen. So he calls them out on this bill, and somebody also punched him in the eye. And, there's about a speculation on that. And he calls him out on this bill. The dark MAGA gets upset. And so then he says, this thing is disgusting. And then he says, well, I'm going to stop EV funding and stop helping subsidized Tesla. And then, of course, Elon then says, well, Trump's on the Epstein files. That's why they weren't made public. And, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And at the end of the day, yes, Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. He took away his email. So they're fighting now, right? This is, again, it's wrestling. That's all we're seeing is complete wrestling theater. And I want to play that in a second here. But whoa, where did she go? There we go. It's just complete wrestling and theater and stuff. Mm-hmm. And what's that? Go ahead.
I'm saying, I totally agree. Wrestling, theater, fake puppeteering, a distraction from what they don't want us to be talking about, which is the metaphysical realm and the battle for our souls.
Yeah, because it's a battle of good and evil, and it's a spiritual battle, and they want us to keep us caught up in the minutia. And that's the other thing. So I've done many videos and discussions and stuff, and if you haven't seen it yet, go watch my video. It's funny. It's called Soap, but go watch my video on soap, and it's on my channel, and it's all about Q and how we got there and stuff. And because I studied that for a while, and then I realized it's all just another psyop. And what's interesting is even the ones that are say, controlled opposition kind of channels, they're starting to catch on, or at least they're discussing the things that we're discussing on these channels. And so I found this was interesting because the Q thing, which is about trusting the plan and don't worry, there's a bunch of white hat military that Trump's in charge of, and they're going to bring down the evil cabal, and everyone's going to jail. And then this article just came out.
Article came out recently, said QAnon bears striking resemblance to Bolshevik psyop from the 1920s known as Operation Trust. Operation Trust was a Bolshevik counterintelligence operation run from 1921 to 1926 aimed at neutralizing opposition by creating the false impression that a powerful group of military leaders had organized to stop the communist takeover. Doesn't that sound familiar? In this book, it talked about how they used generals that people trusted and how they dupe people. Let's look. They convinced the leaders that the regime had undergone on a radical change. Communism had completely failed, ideology was dead, the present leaders had nothing in common with the fanatical revolutionaries of the past. These agents confided in their contacts that the anti-Soviet monarchist movement that they represented had...
Well, in any case, it keeps on going, but it's basically history repeats itself, or as God says in the Bible, there's nothing new under the sun. Of course, that now has been Mandela. There's no new thing under the sun. But regardless, they're just replaying the same script to a new audience. And so this whole thing about trusting the plan and sit back and eat your popcorn, they're still discussing the same people that they did, 7, 8 years ago when I was looking into this way back then. Nothing's changed. Nothing ever does change. They're two wings of the same bird, the left and the right, and it's one bird and it feasts on us. The fights are fake, and if you don't like this cop, they bring in the other one. There's good cop, there's bad cop. You didn't like Obama, we'll throw in Bush. You didn't like Bush, we'll throw in, it's just back and forth. And at the end of the day, nothing changes. All the things that they said Doge saved us, all the money that they found, which I haven't seen them pay it out anywhere. Where did it go if they found all this money that they cut all these budgets? Meanwhile, he's spending another $5 trillion or something. So it's all just nonsense.
All this
right,
money
Rose?
Buttons. Yeah, it's just buttons on people press buttons and money is created out of thin air, and they're controlling the economy in all sorts of ways. Just one of the many examples that one could mention is the fact that all over the world, they have large quantities of metals like gold and silver, both digitally and physically tagged and then cemented over underground. It's not brought into the economy. So anytime the powers that be want to influence the economy, all they have to do is go to one of those massive blocks of gold that's the size of a VW bus, like the Partridge Family, and then add that into the economy so they can control how much things are worth because of the illusion of scarcity that they've created and the abundance that we have here in this realm.
Right. And as Val puts, as Joy here puts, it's exactly it. Meanwhile, we're spending, billions of dollars on fake space and all this other stuff that they're not doing. This whole Space Force is such a joke because they've never left Earth. So how are they a Space Force? They're Earth Force. They haven't gone anywhere. It's even, and then when they finally do, it'll just be in that soundstage they have in LA, most likely. So, yeah, Jesus is king and he has kept his word. We're going to get to that eventually. And it is all restriction.
I just sent Jeannie a text about the special Happy Grandfather's Day gift that I'm sending you.
That's sweet of you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Next tab, leave me.
I have a couple more things that I was going to show on screen share. Should we bother? Finish it up. Let's finish it up. Okay. Where'd she go? Oh, you vanished. That was
I'm helping you by removing myself so that you can focus on the sharing. And so you remember not to ask me things and also to bring me back.
My God, there's so many. Okay, let me write this down. Okay. Bring you back.
Oh my gosh. What I'm doing is to socially engineer you for your brain's ease. But maybe I should lay off and stop you controlling and trust in the Holy Spirit guiding you.
Whatever you said there, I agree. Okay, let's move on. Oh, there she went again. Okay, I've lost control. Where are we at here? Okay, for those of you playing along at home, of course, I talked ad nauseum about pandas, and I've just started looking into koalas, and I found this guy. He looked into them too, apparently. If they aren't the weirdest thing after a panda or a duck-billed platypus, which we discussed, I think, last week. These things.
Do you know why, unlike most animals, the koala actually had to get dumber to survive?
Now, right off the bat, I mean, don't you have a problem with this? I do.
The answer is wild. The koala is a strange little animal. It's not fast. It's not strong. It can't hide or defend itself. Basically, if there was a competition between animals, the koala would lose in every single category.
That's good to know. And yes, Rose is yelling in the chat because she should be on the show commenting, but she did bring up koalas to me a while back. And I just never really put any time on it. But yes,
And yet, it survived, thanks to one bizarre adaptation, its ability to eat toxic eucalyptus leaves. Almost no other animal on Earth can digest them, only koalas.
Does that make any sense? I mean, I think God is amazing, but it's just, if this isn't some kind of weird chimera or chimera or whatever you call them, an animal that can only eat toxic plants, but wait, there's more.
This gives the koala a major advantage. No competition for food, and basically no predators, because the toxins make their flesh taste terrible. Even wild animals are like, hard pass. But there's a price to pay. Eucalyptus leaves have almost no calories.
Now, isn't this sounding very similar to the pandas, that they have to eat all day long because they get no nutritional value from bamboo?
So to survive, a koala has to rest, and I mean a lot. They sleep between 18 and 22 hours a day.
And they say the same thing about pandas, right? Pandas, all they can do is eat, and of course they poop and urinate upside down, but then they sleep a lot, and they only have a mating like one day out of the year, maybe within a few days or so.
Just to conserve enough energy to digest those leaves. And even then, eating eucalyptus isn't easy. In fact, it's not even natural for a baby koala. They don't have the gut bacteria to process the toxins at birth.
So what do? So when the babies come out, and we saw last week, if you didn't watch it, go find it. Panda babies actually get shot out like a gun. How they just don't die and impact, I don't understand. But these babies can't even eat the only food source that they're actually allowed to eat. So how do they get the way to eat it?
So how do they get it? By eating their mother's poop. Yeah.
See, it always goes back to that. It always goes back to that, right? I know it's happening. God has a sense of humor. I just don't think he created. Maybe I could be wrong in I usually am, but this just seems so bizarre to me.
Their first solid meal is literal feces. Yeah. That's how they seed their digestive system with the right bacteria to survive. So
does that make sense? I don't know.
Why go through all that instead of eating something else? Because back in prehistoric Australia, eucalyptus was everywhere and other food was scarce.
Prehistoric Australia. So once again, this is a BS story. And yeah, there is no panda umbilical cord. Those things shoot out like a gun. Kapow.
Leaves also contain a lot of water, which means koalas rarely have to climb down from the trees to drink, where they'd be exposed to predators. In fact, the word koala comes from the Aboriginal word gula, which means no water. But there's something else that makes koalas especially unique. And
yeah, if there wasn't enough, let's keep going.
Kind of sad. Their brains. Among mammals, koalas have one of the smallest brains relative to their body size.
Other than people that I find on YouTube.
And scientists believe that shrinking their brain was an evolutionary strategy to
now we brought evolution into it.
Conserve energy, since digestion takes so much effort. Today, their brain doesn't even fill their skull.
I mean, think about this. If God created, please don't strike at me. I'm sorry. If you created this creature, that's amazing. But I don't get it. Of course, a lot of things I don't understand. So you tell me this creature only eats eucalyptus leaves. Why am I looking up? Oh, this creature only eats eucalyptus leaves. It's a toxin, so other animals don't go after them. It has enough water so they never have to come out of the tree, because if it did come out of the tree, they couldn't possibly fight anything. They lose to like the smallest little mouse, most likely. And then in addition to that, they can't digest this enough of this eucalyptus to where they have to then sleep for 20 hours a day, and the babies can't eat it. They have to eat the mother's feces in order. I don't know how much they have to eat before they're allowed to eat the leaves. I don't know if there's but on top of that, evolution, wink, wink, has shrunk their brains because they don't need a large brain since they barely do anything but eat, sleep, and poop. Sounds just like pandas.
Over time, the space inside became filled with fluid, which actually helps cushion their tiny brains when they fall from trees, which happens a lot. And if you really want to know how weird it gets, koalas are so mentally limited, they can't even recognize eucalyptus leaves if they're not on a tree.
How about that? So they're only one food source. I'll let Rose come in here now. They're only one food source. Their brains have gotten so small at this point that unless they're put on the tree where the leaves are, they can't recognize it. Is any of this making sense to you, Rose? It's such BS.
No, that's why I brought it up too. It makes no sense, and it makes you wonder if it really is. Well, okay, so I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me, and I'm baffled that there would. I was typing all about it in chat before the video mentioned it about how. Okay, I don't think the video mentioned this.
What?
If you take their brains are so small that let's say one gets injured and you have to take it into captivity, if you put the leaves on the plate, they will starve. They will not eat it on the plate. It has to be on a tree. So they have to mimic nature or else it will starve. That's how horrible it is at survival. And so, like you said, that was one thing I learned. If there's one mating day per year, then that really inhibits sexual reproduction. And isn't that what evolution says that is supposed to happen, that it's supposed to be easier and easier for things to reproduce? And if dinosaurs were real, then instead of a comet hitting them, it would probably just be that because the way they're shaped, I don't know how dinosaurs ever could have had sex. If you put
I had that meme a long time ago that showing that, like, it said someone's lying and it tried to,
yeah.
You seen that one? If I could have found
I
it,
haven't seen the meme, but I had dinosaur toys when I was a kid, and I would, when you slam them together and stuff, yeah, you're married now. Nothing matched up.
yeah, nothing fits. Exactly. Nothing fits. I don't know if I don't see, I was going to show the panda thing, but I don't know where it is anymore. Well, no, it was
you don't know where
it was from last week's show, so I don't know if I will find it. So,
David
yeah,
Z
because
says biology wait for the punchline.
Wait, what? I missed it.
David
Biology.
Z.
Yeah.
His comment.
Exactly.
Wait for the punchline. But don't hold your breath, God willing.
Right.
And then
okay,
so says eucalyptus is an anti-parasitic. That's good to know too. And eucalyptus is found in a lot of like breathing aromatherapy.
Yeah, but then they say it's toxic, so we don't recommend our what?
But it's toxic, but in small uses, like breathing in a.
Right, now we get a disclaimer.
Maybe I'm thinking of echinacea. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what I'm talking about. Carry on.
That's right. I don't. Check with your local 3-letter organizations or your medical professional. Don't listen to us. We're just comedians on YouTube. She's gonna get me in trouble. She finally got her channel back. She's trying to get mine knocked out.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, let's see. And yes, I haven't. I don't know if I got the chance to answer the email, but I had already had this. Once again, a synchronicity. Somebody sent me this right before I went on air, but it was actually already in my tabs. Because the other thing, and Rose, she wants to talk now because as soon as I screen share this, I've discussed with Rose my theory on birds, specifically pigeons, forever. And I've done it many times on this show. And then look at this.
How you doing, Tom?
I don't know what happened there. Oh, I want to get this one because I don't want the music just in case. But isn't this wild? It's all about perspective. Like, that's just like garbage that he put together. But when you see it from the correct angle, he's even got a dinosaur in there. See, they're everywhere. And when you see it from the correct angle, it turns into a pigeon. Isn't that cool? So I'm not. Now this one is definitely fake. Just saying. I used my discernment and realized that wasn't a real pigeon. Right, Rose?
Absolutely. Birds is our favorite topic, and I always use birds to I'll ask questions to the universe, and somehow in some way in the next week I'll feel like I get my answer in the form of a bird, and I don't know how to explain it. Like a bird, like I'll think to myself, like, I wonder where the blue jays are today. I haven't seen them in a while. And then like 2 seconds later, a blue jay will just like practically hit me in the head flying by me.
That's cool. You're like Aquaman, only a woman on land.
Is that what happens to Aquaman? He wonders about things and they hit him in the head?
He does something like shit used to come out of his forehead, like sonar or something.
Okay, nothing's coming out of my forehead. Okay, it's birds almost flying into it.
Fun out there like he did. Do you hear a noise like doo, 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 doo? I think that's what used to happen with him. No. Okay. The audience is quickly diminishing. All right, let's go. Here we go. Let me finish this up here.
It is.
No, it was another joke. I'm Self-deprecating humor, that's what it's called. Okay. AI is getting ridiculous at this point. I've covered this many times, but like,
I'm AI generated by VO3.
isn't this ridiculous? Like, they keep talking about how one day they're going to do like an alien. They could do it right now. Because at this point, most people get all their information of the world or whatever, the plane, from these machines. And you can't tell.
Nothing is real anymore.
You can't tell, right? Or this.
What's the best decision you made this year?
Definitely following Venture Twins on Twitter.
I mean, these are all fake. Remember this? Remember this meme where you've seen it, at least I have, thousands of times, where the guy's looking at her and she's upset. Now the AI is created into a video.
Are you serious right now? I can't believe you!
Oh, she's screaming. It's getting too loud for me. But isn't that something? This is fake. These are all fake.
Please change the prompt. I don't know where I am.
That looks real. Sarah's chasing a dog in a car. But yeah.
Everything for my depression. Nothing worked.
I mean, some of these look like video games. I get that. But some of these don't. Was Will Smith eating spaghetti? Who didn't want to see that?
Here are today's top news. To ensure only the best words are used, White House speech announces new thesaurus with all synonyms replaced by Trump.
I actually didn't play that one before. That's funny. So, okay, now we're going to stop sharing and hear what Rose has to say. Hi, Rose.
Hi. Oh my gosh. It's so funny that you're bringing this up because I actually wanted to find a perfect example of this to show my mom that this is happening, because unfortunately, my mom sent me some very adorable pictures of things that have to be impossible that I knew were AI. And she's like, oh, isn't this so cute? So I was like, Mom, let me show you how great AI is. And there's this woman on YouTube who employs AI openly. She's like, everybody knows that it's fake, but in her videos, she's purposefully acting, like she's trying to be convincing and act like it's real. So may I please share the thing I picked to send to my mom, because I think it's so
yeah,
cute.
I just shared the thing I just showed. I thought that's what you wanted me to do.
No, I want to share something now really quick with my screen.
Oh, you want to show it?
I want to show the thing. It's so good. What?
Am I getting in trouble with this? I don't
No,
how much I like things that I haven't vetted before.
This is really, I promise you, it's so cute and fake, and the audience will love it.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
you have to press the button to
I'm
let
worried.
me show it.
All right, here we go, everyone. I'm ready to kill it in case I have to.
All right. Yeah, just kill it if this offends you in any way.
Okay,
Susan.
done.
Oh my gosh. You don't want to see the monkeys serving like waiters and it being
Oh,
really
hang
good?
on. I'm putting it back up. Calm down over there. There you
Here
go.
we go.
Oh my god, it's actually real. He's literally serving the food just suit here. Look at him.
Oh, it's monkeys?
Guys, apparently there's a restaurant where monkeys are literally cooking the food, like actual monkeys in the kitchen. I have to see this for myself.
Okay, this is it. The Monkey Chef restaurant. It's called Cooking Monkeys. Let's see if they're actually cooking or it's fake. So this is the front of the place. That's their logo. Honestly, I kind of love it. It's fun. Oh my god, it's actually real. He's literally serving the food just suit here. Look at him. So I filmed the kitchen and I actually saw 2 monkeys back there cooking. The rest were walking around like proper waiters. He's actually taking my order. This is the best thing I've ever seen.
So wait, your
I
mom
actually like this place.
real?
It's pretty awesome to see monkeys cooking.
Did you say your mom thought that was real?
Yeah, she.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. What
Did
can
you set her
do?
straight? Have you talked to her about this?
Yes, I told her it was AI and that the girl was trying to prove a point that she missed.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm definitely not eating there. I agree. Uh-oh. You know what? I think that thing you sent is here. It's going to get loud in here. What can I do?
Ooh, yeah, it could be. No, not yet. Maybe.
Let's see. Let me. No. Okay. Not yet. All right. I'll get this video. Oops. I've lost control.
All right. Continue with the show. I'm removing myself.
Oh my goodness. It is? Okay. I'm gonna get this thing, this surprise thing, and I'm going to here. I was gonna show Whoa! I was gonna show you this anyways. Okay. All right, everyone here.
tracking continues.
You're muted, my friend. Could you start from the beginning before you started laughing?
Oh, there we are. You like my little musical intro? Oh my goodness. So Rose got us Oreos because I didn't have any. This is a dry house. So thank you so much. God bless you. I mean,
congratulations, you're a grandfather. You did it. This is what life all is about. Spread and go forth and multiply. And you're giving someone a chance to have an incredible, incredible life. So many times people are cynical in this day and age, but we know that this grandchild of yours is going to be the most special person who could possibly change the world, even if it's for just one other person in their immediate sphere of influence. That's all that matters. We just try and be as good as we can be, and hopefully he will be even better than his father and you. Amen.
I love talking to this lady. Thank you. God bless you. Here we go. That's really good. That's amazing to me. I understand we're all controlled by the B system, but the fact that you across the plane can get on a phone or an internet or whatever and get a hold of somebody to come and bring an Oreo to my door, that's incredible. It really is. I don't know. So, so cheers to everyone. And I understand if you're not a drinker, drink your water, your apple juice. I rarely do this, but I had a grandson, so I need a little bit of this, I think. So God bless you. This is great.
God bless everyone. And Jesus did turn water into wine, so it can't be that bad.
He did.
It's a good thing it's not contaminated because it's fermented.
You know what he said? He said, don't get drunk, stay sober. So you can have a beer or wine. If that's okay, you don't have to. But if you have it, just don't get to the point where you've gotten so drunk that you tune out of your vessel, and then definitely you can be taken over by whatever's possessing those things. So.
You know what's so interesting? I read a book recommended to me by someone from the 1600s, someone in Asia. Okay, so it's just like the Asian perspective, and it's called something like The Four Simple Truths. And I'm sitting down to check it out and find out what is this wise Asian man going to bestow upon me. And in this particular page that I happen to open, it's like, and make sure you do not drink too much. You don't want to get too drunk in public. And it's like, wow, human condition doesn't change. It's the same problem, same shit, different day.
And that guy was from Transylvania? Is that what you said?
Asia.
No, but your voice sounded like Dracula.
I guess I can't do an Asian accent tonight. I'm sorry. I just default to Dracula. Wait, how do you do an Asian accent?
I don't want to do that. I'm not Asian. I'll get called racist. The only one I can do is the Jewish one, oy vey, because I have the card.
Oy vey.
But even when I bring that up, people get mad. But don't forget, everyone was born a certain way, and we were all lied to. I was born and raised. I went to temple, and I got bar mitzvah, the whole bit. They never told me that the first part of the Torah is the first part of the Bible. I didn't know I was actually reading the Bible. And then when I woke up, and as we're going to let's transition to this discussion because we'll never get there otherwise. As I woke up to the lies of the world, for me, it started with, and whenever I talk about things, there's always going to be somebody get upset, but just this is my journey. And for me, it started with the Mandela effect, which I truly believe is happening. It's hard to say it isn't at this point. And from there, that discussion morphed into the lies of the world, and that was mostly from Brian. And then from there, where we live, as far as the shape of the earth, and we're not flying through space, all that stuff. But no matter what topic I was researching or discovering at that time, they always ended up with this discussion of good versus evil, God versus Satan. And they all said the same thing. Don't bother with reading the Bible. It's nonsense. And so they were saying that about Jesus too. And so as I guess as an Aries that I am, you tell me not to do something, and that's the first thing I'm going to do. And so I started to read the Bible on my own, and I found that the stories are fascinating. I still stand behind this. If you haven't read it, now I read King James because first of all, I think it's the closest to the original translations. I know they've all been messed with. I get that. But when I grew up in high school And in college, actually, I took a voice and diction class. That's why I speak so amazingly. And part of that class was we had to read all the works of Shakespeare, like even his poems and stuff. So I got to understand the these and thous and that kind of way of talking. And if you can get past that, it's not that hard to do. And then the whole thing just opens up to you. And so every time I tried to read the Bible on purpose, like for research, or it never worked for me. But when I decided to sit down and actually start reading it like I would any book, it's the living word. It just came to life in it. And the stories in the Old Testament go over our past, and they're fascinating stories. And it also helps you understand how we got to where we are. Because where is she? See, I usually don't get it this easy. And so here we are. So after that, then you get into one of the fun parts of the Bible is the Gospels. And the reason I really like those, and most people do, is because it's you get almost a first person experience of what it was like to walk around with Jesus. Because we, whatever level you are in your faith, we're not the generation that Jesus was in flesh walking around and doing stuff, and healing people, and you're healed and that kind of stuff. They got to experience it. And so it's fun to read those stories because you can kind of immerse yourself into how it was then. And then you get to understanding better the sacrifice that he made. And it really was a sacrifice to people that like we had never met. At least I didn't even know he existed, but he still did it for me anyways. And he waited for me to ask for him. And so that's how I made my connection. Is life got just incredibly hard this one day. I couldn't take it anymore. And my readings that I was saying, he says that if he's knocked at the door and he's waiting for you to answer, all you have to do is just open it up and he'll eat with you. Well, he sup with you. It's how he eats. I guess he sups. And so I did that. And then I had a whole experience. Some people call it like the moment you're saved or born again or whatever. I can't explain it to you. It was my own private journey. Things happened, and we're going to discuss some other things tonight that one would say supernaturally. Things that were just impossible happened, and it went on for at least 24 hours. And so then when I made that connection, he changes your heart, and I started changing. Like, I've always done things and been a good person just because I felt it was the right thing to do. It's just how I was raised. I never thought about it differently. That's just how it was. And then when God changes your heart in that moment, now you start doing things the right way. Yeah, you can say it's because it's the right thing to do. But now you also have this feeling like that whole thing, what would Jesus do? Like, is this what God would want me to do? Because don't forget, they talk about Santa Claus and how, he knows you're sleeping and awake and he knows all this stuff. God knows everything about you from the moment you were born. He knew you before you were born, but from the moment you're born, he knows everything about you. Why is that? He created you. I mean, this is in the general you. And so he sees through our eyes. He hears through our ears. He feels the things we feel. I mean, I can hurt, or let's say my son is hurting. It's going to hurt me. It hurts him and me. And then if we're all his children. If I'm hurting, God feels that pain too. And so everything that we experience our entire life, that's why it was a wonderful thing when I realized I didn't have to change myself to make this connection to God, because he already knew who I was. He already knew who I was. I'm smart. And so he already knew everything I'd ever done, all the stupid things and everything. And I didn't have to explain myself. He was there. And so what you do is he changes your heart, and that's where you repent. You don't go to church. You don't talk to a guy in a magic fish hat or yarmulke or whatever and say, hey, Father, because God says, call no man father but him. And you're not supposed to go and talk to a guy who calls himself Father and say 10 Hail Marys and then you're saved. That's not how it works. You actually have your connection to God. You repent to him and say, look, I did all these stupid things. I'm sorry. And you're forgiven. It's that easy. And then, I'm sorry, I'm almost on my rant. Then just like that woman that was about to get stoned to death, and not in a good way, she was accused of adultery. And Jesus says, hey, who's out without the first sin, cast the first stone, kind of thing. And they all leave. And then he says, well, I don't see anyone here to accuse you, and I don't either. Go on your way. But he says, with the caveat, and sin no more. So once we've gotten this get out of jail free card, because that's why he died, because he was perfect and he had no sin in him. So there was no reason to take his life. So his life is there free for anyone, all of us, to just accept that. And once you do, he pays for the old debts, and then sin no more. Do your best to walk that straight and narrow path, not just because it's the right thing to do, because God's watching you. And do you want to make him, do you want to disappoint him? That's what happens in me. Anyways, go ahead, Rose. That was a rant.
Well, I've certainly heard from all of the serious, non-fake Christians that the best way that it was explained to me was that there is a literal transformation in your heart, like you described, so that, and this is the interesting way it was explained, where your heart is changed so that your main concern is living your life for that because you want to. It's not like, oh no, now that I know this is real, now I have to act like this. No, it's the transformation where you just can't help it. So I have this little joke with myself, because a lot of people will say, like, Rose, like, you've been through so much suffering and people always find Jesus in jail. Like, have you really gone somewhere alone and quiet and asked and had that moment? And my answer is yes, I have a lot, but obviously I must not be doing it right, or it might just not be part of the plan for me to have this transformative experience. But then at the same time, in a very hypocritical way, at times, not you, but other people in a hypocritical way will be like, well, you just have to, you just don't have enough faith or something. I mean, it's very interesting, because I feel like I'm the person that wants to have this transformative experience that everyone's talking about. And then when I complain about not having it, they say, well, it's not like taking a drug, Rose. It's not like you're going to feel like you're on psychedelics and that you're going to see a vision. Well, even though some people have said things like that in a dream, but there is something that is happening in people's hearts that I think would cause me to become the most annoying evangelical Christian, where there's nothing I would do other than talk about this.
But those people are needed too. Do you understand? Like, there's all different, Paul talks about it. There's all different parts of the body, and so everyone has their part to do. Not everyone that finds this information out turns their camera on and starts discussing things knowing they're going to lose, family, friends, loved ones, and money and opportunities and all that. God put this in my heart, and I enjoy doing the videos and stuff. Obviously, I've always enjoyed that. And so he gave me the talent and the voice and the ability to BS, I guess, for long periods of time, so that I could make it entertaining and get this message out to whoever's supposed to hear it. And so, if you turned into that evangelical, whatever person, maybe that's your path. I don't know. I'm not the one that's going to stand on a street corner, but then I do this. And then my wife does it in other ways that you might not even see on air, kind of thing. So we all have our part to play. But what I would say about your situation, I can't even, it's not for us to decide. We don't judge. God will figure this out. But it's not necessarily a lack of faith. It's there's could be a lot of things at play. I feel like the people in the book of Job, which we read, I think, or at least some of it, where they start telling him why God's doing these things to him. And then God, of course, comes out and goes, it's a great book, and just does a smackdown and says, you guys don't know anything. And I feel the same way. However, what I would say is that it's possibly within his plan that it's not supposed to happen for you yet. It's possible that everything's ready for you, but your own, like, we can control ourselves with our own, that's why they do mind control on us, because we can keep ourselves from doing things. So maybe it's some kind of blockage that's been placed into you that you feel that you don't deserve this connection, or I don't know. But if you truly, God reads your heart, if you truly have in your heart and you want to do this, I don't see what would stop it. However, God says if you ask for these prayers, he'll answer them, but his timeline's different than ours. And when I try to figure that out, I realize that some things that I want to have happen right away, I need to wait. I need to be patient, and God will answer that prayer, but it might not be immediate. It might be farther down the road for a good reason. And I've seen some of that outplay just recently. And so that's the thing. When you walk in faith, then The only way that you can get deeper walk is to be tested, right? It's like any muscle. You can buy a membership to a gym, but if you don't go, you don't get any stronger. And so if you ask for deeper faith, walk with God, he's going to allow more tests to be sent your way. So that way, instead of denouncing God and saying, why are you doing this to me? You get in a deeper mode and say, help me through this because I can't handle it alone. Because that's why he allows these things to happen, is to wake people up.
Okay, so I'm going to just be so real with you as if we were on a phone conversation, but I want to put it on the record for the chat just in case. But when I was paralyzed, I never wanted to think about walking again because I wanted to be practical. And I felt like, according to science in 2005, that was totally a waste of time for me to focus on. And I had all these goals and things to do. So I just wanted my discharge papers and to get out. And I had an incredible role model growing up who was a quadriplegic. So since he couldn't move his hands and I could move my hands, I always felt lucky. And all throughout that time, I was also basically an atheist, open-minded, but I was just like my dad. You've got to see it to believe it, which is so interesting because my dad was married. He became married to my stepmom, who's a born again Christian. And my stepmom became a born again Christian. We're talking about synchronicities here at the same time as all of her siblings, even though they were in different geographic location, they had a profound experience. And then their mother, mi abuelita, and I call her abuelita because her name's Shirley and she named my stepmom Shirley. So it's like a junior situation with girls, which is so weird to me, but maybe it's Honduran. So Grandma Shirley, aka abuelita, stopped being like a radio show host for Spanish speaking people. And she became a minister and created her own church. And they've been, quote unquote, what Jews like us would call Jesus freaks, where they hold hands and pray. And then people who are brought up Jewish kind of like try to put their head down and kind of keep their eyes open, but be respectful, So all my life with all this doubt and having this crazy disability, which really doesn't have a normal explanation, like the usual motorcycle accident, I've been okay with my situation and always lived life to the fullest and been positive. But in the past few years, I've started to get sick of it. And also recognizing that I had a cognitive bias and that miracles can happen. And maybe my experience here is not like a test or a game, but just opportunities for me to use my free will to do something good on earth. So my abuelita, she said that while she was deep in prayer, that she has had visions that God has a special plan for me. Now, everyone has people in their family that says, oh, like my mommy says I'm special, like everyone's special, right? But she said that she thinks I'm going to walk again, which I can't help it. I don't believe, but she's always saying that to me. So I'm trying to be polite, just like usual. And just like, that would be so great. And I honestly would love to happen for her, like, just so that she can be right. That would be awesome. Like, you were right. You predicted it. God, it was God. And so I'm thinking that this is the blessing and the answer to my prayer that's already happened is that I'm not worried about it anymore. It doesn't matter the timeline. And if I don't graduate to where you're at, because I'm only 40 now, and I don't know what time you found started reading the Bible, but I do believe, and I'm not trying to make excuses here, it's just what I've learned. I feel like there is a huge battle because I'm such a strong spirit, and that it's Satan that's preventing me from reading the Bible, which usually sparks the situation from happening. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there because I have opened my mind to any possibility, but I don't really think that it would happen unless it was a miraculous blessing from God. And I would take that experience only to say that it happened because of Jesus, because I made a deal that if that was really going to happen, that would be the most obvious proof, because I'm not going to do any transhumanism, New World Order treatments. It would definitely have to come out of nowhere, or at least maybe like I feel my toe and then that triggers me to start doing rehab or something like that. So on the record, on your show, we're all going to be really, really positive and think that my abuelita's dream will come true. And then if it happens, then I'll be so happy that I could say, from 2005 until 2040, I was in a wheelchair, totally paralyzed. And then Jesus saved me. And then how many minds can I open up from there? So that would be a cool story, right, bro?
True. Yep. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Look, yes. And I wish that and more. But also, I'm going to go on the record saying there potentially is going to be other things, even prior to, say, that scenario, that's going to wake you up to the existence of God. You'll make your connection because it's swirling around you so much right now. That's the whole reason we decided to do this show tonight.
Yeah.
Was because things were happening that you just can't deny the existence of God. And so, well, I'll just segue into your story. How about that? And basically, it went like this. She does a show, or she runs a show called Crow, with her partner Jason does the show with Crow.
You don't even have to be specific. Just take sips of your beer. It's not about promoting my show. We'll just.
Can you let me? I'm going to put you backstage again. Excuse me. Okay.
I don't drink often either, but Jason's opened my beer when yours arrived. So sorry if anything goes downhill.
There you go. See, there's a blessing right there. You got someone giving you opening a beer and handing it to you. I mean, we can look around God's work and magic all around us all the time. I never have luck anymore. Everything is a blessing. It's amazing. And so getting back to let's segue back to this. Okay. So she does this show, or she runs it, or whatever. Jason and Crow do a show. And I've had listened to it over the years. I was on it too. I did an episode of it. And well, I'll just let you do it then. It's much better if it seems like God and Jesus specifically keeps coming up, even though it's not on the show. Like, it came up with me, of course. I always talk about it, but on the show I did with Crow, we hadn't discussed I was going to go there. It just kind of ended up there. And then Rose called me the other night. Go ahead and go. You finished this thing, whatever. Oh, that looked like.
Did you just see me?
No, we saw like a
it's my virtual background. That's Santa Barbara, my hometown. Yeah. Can you believe that's where I'm from? I'm so blessed that I lived the first 30 years of my life. And I really, really want to go home. So I'm glad I accidentally hit that. I really, really do want to go home because it's one of the synchronicities we're going to discuss. But first, we're going to talk about the Eddie Bravo situation. So I already had plans to do a show, and it was like kind of my day, because it's the day after show release. So Crow is doing a guest appearance on Eddie Bravo's show, and my motive for Crow going on the show is he's got to promote his hydrogen alpha solar telescope. Okay, so my mind wasn't thinking about spirituality, even though Crow is a spiritual guy. Like, I was just thinking like business, sun video. We got to make this. That's the purpose of the interview, to get people to come and look at his sun footage. Okay, so Eddie says last minute that day, my producer isn't here. So that now we're coming back to the joke I was making, where it's like, they were just using me as a filler guest. His producer isn't even there. So and Crow can just share the screen himself. And Crow is 61 years old. He would not be able to share the screen himself. He has never been doing what you've been doing the past few years, getting used to clicking the button. So I was like, I guess I have to step up to the plate and be there as the silent producer, because no one cares about what I have to say. Right.
So you were in charge of
clickety click.
Exactly. But all I care about is the sun. Right. And so the vibe felt a little odd because I had anxiety because I don't know if Eddie was going to cut out my voice because they'd ask me a question instead of telling me what to do. So I'd like unmute when, and I'd be like having a frog in my throat, like, okay, hold on. And then
Oh, so you were screwing up their show too. I see. Okay, go ahead. There's a pattern with you.
So, so I even wrote him an email afterward. I'm like, is my voice going to be in the show? And also my real like birth name because it was on there. So anyway, it was just I actually felt like I needed to rage quit because of my anxiety. But of course, I waited until after I was done making sure that Crow promoted his premium content. So then I made the joke that it's like God needed to get the Jew out of the room in order to do this. But I heard about it afterwards from Crow, and this hasn't come out yet. But
there you go.
Thank you very much. So it's really obvious that Eddie Bravo is very Christian now. It seems like
really?
he had. That's the whole point of what he was trying to talk to Crow about.
What makes you think that? Why is you feel that he's a converted Christian?
All you have to do is listen to the interview with Crow. He was talking about Jesus and talking about cataclysms and talking about Tartaria related things. And of course, I have issues with semantics as a grammar Nazi and truth community lore secretary. But setting that aside, Crow is not an expert like you and Jen on melted buildings and stuff. And so it's kind of like, from Crow's perspective, it's like, okay, right now Eddie's talking about what he wants to talk about, and he didn't really know what to add. So I felt the awkwardness because Eddie should have been talking to you and Jen.
And can I pause you for a second?
You can always do that.
Yes, Val, as a man, he hasn't, but this is where this story is going. It's interesting. So
he's mentioned Jesus, but not in the way that Christians want, as a symbolic thing.
Hold on to your man hat. We're going to get into this. Okay, go ahead. Val is a man.
Did I say woman?
No, I'm continuing with the joke from earlier because we misgendered him. I apologize.
I thought that I did it again, and you were just
no. You're fine. Keep going. So Eddie Bravo, and he starts talking about. Go ahead, Jesus.
He's talking about the Shroud of Turin, and it's just obvious that he's got his thumb on the pulse of what Christians are discussing these days, especially with the millennial reign of Christ. So I don't know whose videos he's watching, but I was just thinking to myself, maybe he's watching Jen and CFM. I don't know, but who knows if somebody's copying your work and respreading it? Who knows? But the point is that, just like the commenter said, Crow is not Christian centric. He generally talks about, I wouldn't go so far as to call it New Age, but he focuses more on the Eastern mind sciences, ancient stuff, like before Jesus was supposed to have existed, I suppose. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. He is what he is, and I am what I am too. And nobody's perfect. But Crow, what I'm trying to paint the picture.
We all have origin stories. Hopefully we all get to the same place. So keep going.
So just imagine this. I'm frustrated because I've already shared what I needed to be there for, and I had anxiety. Honestly, just full disclosure, it was frustrating me not to be able to talk. Like, I just didn't know why I was sitting there unmuted, and Eddie has just no idea how much I know, and how much I could say. So, so I really did. I was texting Crow, and I said, I feel sick. And he knew I meant mentally. So I wasn't lying or anything. I was just like, I feel sick. I've got to go. I just can't stand being able to talk. And I've promoted what I needed. I shared the screen like needed to. And then after I left, Eddie started talking about his amazing moment, his Jesus experience that, I mean, I don't want to be too specific because it's not fair to tell the story before the episode comes out. It's his show. But I think that maybe he's already talked about it on other shows because he's so enthusiastic.
This is going to be on Eddie Bravo, his channel.
So what I'm about to describe to you is a show that Eddie is going to release with Crow as the guest. And after I leave, this happened. So he's going more into why he's what I think a Christian. And he asked Crow if he was a Christian. And Crow
and for everyone that's listening, this is why I decided let's do this tonight, because I don't know. This story kind of really rocked my thinking. I mean, it made the hair. Tell the story. It's interesting.
Especially because of you have an intimate connection to both me and Crow for many years. So for you, it's very
Well, I'm not
interesting.
that intimate with Crow or you, but I am friends.
You know what I mean? Like you have you have intimate knowledge.
We haven't even gone to dinner yet, so just saying.
I meant
I did
knowledge.
buy you dinner though one time. I did do that. Okay.
Knowledge. When I used intimate in that colloquialism, it was that you have a deep knowledge of his level of Jesusness following. Would that be accurate?
But this is also a comedy show. I've got to interplay a little bit, I hope. So
Okay, so you have an intimate understanding of his rhetoric.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, so what was I just talking about? Now I'm all embarrassed because I misused the word intimacy.
You were starting to describe about how you were about to rage quit off of the Crow episode with Eddie Bravo.
I rage quit. Insert joke about how the Jew needed to leave the room for this to occur. Insert Crow saying that he was raised Christian, and then Eddie's eyebrows raise and he's nodding. So that makes Eddie feel good to know Crow is raised Christian. But Eddie doesn't know Crow well enough to know exactly where he stands. And Crow doesn't even talk about it too much about what he believes because he doesn't want him to be influential on his listeners, which I think is great because people who don't know what's going on should, keep their opinions to themselves if they don't want to lead people in the wrong direction, which is how I am. I don't have I don't have something that I don't have any kind of thing that I'm trying to make people believe, right? So they start to have a better vibe with each other once I'm gone. That's just what Crow tells me after the fact. He's like, after you were gone.
That's always nice to hear. As soon as you left the room, we were having a much better time.
It's just how it happened. He wasn't blaming me or anything. It's just because
no blame here, but it was way cooler when you left.
Okay, I'm gonna sip to that. So everyone in the audience is on the edge of their seat because we built this up too much. But Eddie,
that's okay. It's called the build-up. Should we take a break and come back? All right, I'll stop. Keep going.
Eddie told Crow that he did have that moment that we were describing before where you kind of get down on your knees and say, look, I'm ready for you, Jesus, to reveal yourself to me. That may not be the verbatim thing, but this is how I remember Crow telling me this happened after the fact, and I won't see it myself until the show is published. So Eddie starts describing, I think he told Joe Rogan the story too. And he was about to get into a car accident. Okay. So he survives an almost horrible car accident. Okay. Wow. He is telling Crow about how this car was in this position and that car was in this position, and basically how it was a miracle that he was saved. Okay, so some people might say, oh, I survived a car accident after saying that question. Maybe that's the sign, and that would be enough for them, but check it out. Then Eddie said, and right after that happened, I looked up and there was a sign right in front of me. And then Crow interrupted him. He interrupted Eddie from his story and said, let me guess, it was Jesus Saves. And Eddie went, what? How did you know? And Crow said, I just had a vision in my mind of a sign that says Jesus saves. So I'm sure every atheist out there will say, oh, well, statistically speaking, it is possible that you will see a sign that says Jesus saves. So because so many people want to promote that. But take it as you will. Crow's not psychic. It's just this is how it played out. And it blew Eddie's mind. And he was just like, oh, we got to have you on. We have to have you back again, man. Like, this is crazy. So basically, Crow finished his sentence and predicted the sign that Eddie said he saw, which was none other than the crux of the matter, which is Jesus saves. So Crow telling me that was so interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, hearing you told me that, and the hairs were on our neck, my wife and I, when you were telling us this, and it is amazing. And what I find fascinating is And I'm glad he's watching our channels. I'm sure that a lot of people do and don't mention it, but like the stuff I do with Jen and Chapu and Steve back in the day, we cover all this, why the buildings have been melted. And from that, you realize that, God's judgment has happened. And from that, I believe you get into, well, we're after the millennial reign and all that, and Jesus coming back as he said he would. He's not a liar. And now we're in the little season, pizza. And the fact that during these times, it's written about that not just Satan gets loosed, but God is pouring out his spirit. And so these revelations and these wild connections in the universe are happening more frequently. And it's funny because I've told this before. My wife and I were driving. This was, do you remember, hon? Was it a year or two ago? Was it longer? And can't even tell you. I forget what was happening in our lives that was, we were struggling with. And and Jeannie said she asked God for a sign. And within a minute, we came across one of the, as we were driving, I forget where we were going, came across one of those churches that like changed their words on their board. And it literally said, you asked for a sign, this is it. And it was at a church or whatever,
Wow.
And so, yeah. So a couple of things happen to me when things like that or other things happen. One is God has a sense of humor. I mean, if he made me and I have a sense of humor, it had to come from somewhere. And so he's funny. And he also, he does everything at once, and he can help everyone all at the same time. And he's in all times and all at once. So that I understand. But when you ask for a specific prayer, and a lot of times I pray and I know he's got my back on it, but I might not see it for a while because it's his timeline. But every so often you do that one prayer and he goes, I got you. And he just does it. And you see it happen like in real time, like that thing with the sign, as silly as that was, it just takes my breath away, Rose, because that means even though God's in charge of everything going on, at that moment, I know for a fact, he looked over and he says, what's you need, Richard? Or he calls me ceiling fan, man. What do you need, CFM? No, he calls me Richard or whatever. And he did it. And I know he was watching me and listening to me at that exact second. Like, I know he does it all the time, but for that exact moment, I can prove it. And those are the ones that take my breath away. And whenever we were somewhere, and here's a wild one. We were somewhere, and this is several years ago when all that mandating and covering your face and all that stuff was going on. And of course, we were rebellious back then. And so we were getting out of the car. We were heading down somewhere. And my wife's decided she wanted to write a sign. And she said, do you have a Sharpie? And I laughed. I go, we're in a car. Why would I have a Sharpie in the car? I kind of felt bad later. I'm like, why would you think I'd have a Sharpie in the car? So we got out, we started walking. Within a minute again, all of a sudden, not just on the sidewalk, just off to the side in the grass was a black Sharpie, brand new out of the box. It wasn't worn out or sitting there forever. It's like it just fell out of a package. I can't explain that, but it happened. And then you want to get into some wild stuff. There's visions and things that have happened in our lives. Sometimes we see them together. So we're not drunk, we're not high, we're sober, and we see it or experience it together. So it's almost like God blessed us to have a partner. Some people don't have this, but I have it, that sees things and experiences things. So that way, when I look over and go, you saw that, right? I have someone that can confirm it. And so these things to me are happening more and more, or maybe I'm just noticing them more and more. But I definitely believe that once you start seeing this, and instead of, like I've said this, going back 7 years, I think my original videos, I said, I stopped believing in luck. I stopped believing in coincidence. I started saying when anything good happened, what a blessing. And you start counting your blessings. Every time you say, what a blessing, like you can stub your toe and you can say, thank you, Jesus. Why? Because you didn't break it or you didn't fall and hit your head and split it open. I mean, there's so many ways that you can be blessed. that we don't necessarily see. And once you start doing that, it just opens your eyes to it. So what do you think?
I think that, and that I am so sorry for anyone who stubs their toe next time.
Now look,
but
I was talking about this to Jenny. I didn't even see that. Look at, she broke her toe. My goodness.
yeah, okay, now I'm not going to say what I was going to say, which is at least be grateful that you can feel it, because I hate it when like all of a sudden I'll see all this blood all over the floor and I won't know where it's coming from, and it's because I didn't realize that I stubbed my toe. But
no, that's a blessing. You can say, see, Jenny, it hurts and we're praying for you, but Rose couldn't have felt it. So yeah.
Well, yours is going to get better, and I just hope that it happens. I hope it feels better really, 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 really soon, because people might feel sorry for me, but I feel bad for you that your toe's hurting. That's awful. And we all have our own problems. And what is that line where if you could see everybody, if everyone put all their problems into a big pile, everyone would grab back their own.
Say that again. I got lost.
If everybody can put all of their problems into a pile and see all the problems that people have, you just take back your own problems, because you've probably just gotten used to your own problems.
Wow. I like that one. What do I have? This guy.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Of synchronicities I want to go through whenever you're done spieling.
Because I'll never be done spieling. I had an experience years ago. I was working at my dad's store in high school, and I was having one of the crappiest days of my life, if you can experience those. Nowadays, it's nothing what happened then. And I remember looking out the window, and at that exact moment, it was someone in a chair that was a paraplegic, and they used the tube to like make their chair go. And it just dropped me to the core. Like nothing I was experiencing was even close to what that person was experiencing. So yeah, it's all about this perspective, but I might steal that one and say that one about throwing the problems in there and grabbing back your own. Because when you see everyone else's problems, it does put it in perspective,
I didn't come up with that myself. I got
now
it
you ruined it.
I'm passing it on to you.
I thought you made it up.
Oh, I'm so sorry that I'm honored that you thought that I would think of something so good, but I'm so sorry that it wasn't me and you thought it was me. Okay.
And yes, I'm still milking the same beer, Mr. Val.
So is it your turn to tell another synchronicity story, or is it my turn?
Go for it. You can. Go ahead.
Okay, there's multiple ones, and I may have actually forgot. Hopefully, anything I forgot may have come back to me before I started writing them down. But this one is really profound. So, my ex, who lived with me for 10 years and really took care of me, knew me before I was paralyzed, and always had a sense of humor. And I felt like he understood me in a special way that nobody else could. And the first time he saw me paralyzed, he made the joke, "Don't get up." And everyone in the room was so mad. And it's just like, gosh, guys, like you guys just don't get it. So it's just a mutual understanding. And it's kind of like he protected me from my normie family. And he was just, he saved my life multiple times. So if anybody knows, if anybody's been through like weird medical stuff with me, it's him. And he understands, and he has mental issues, like he can't seem to conform to society, just like me. And and it's so crazy that in December, when I was in the hospital because I had gone septic, and when that happens, you just have to accept the fact that you made a mistake and you didn't take the right herbs or do the right things, and your body needs help. So I was in the hospital, and I heard from him. And he said, "My mom was just diagnosed with stomach cancer, and I don't know what to do. And this is so scary, and I feel so alone." So I said, like, "Oh my God, I am here for you. No matter what, just let me know." But I didn't hear from him. He went totally silent, and I just thought, okay, he's focused on helping his mother live. And that is perfect. And I'm not going to pry, and I'm not going to ask anything, and I'll just be here for this individual going through a profoundly scary situation, because he has a sister who's only 25, and her biological father just died last year. So to find out that your mother is sick so close after losing your father, it's just a very sad situation. So a couple months go by, and my mother, so not my stepmom who's married to the atheist dad, but my real mom who's the Jewish hippie, she was riding on a horse trail in Santa Barbara. And this is why I was mentioning I really want to go back to Santa Barbara to see my mom. And she was riding on her horse. And for some reason on this trail, bicyclists can share the trail.
And they never share. Bicyclists are known for not sharing the road, but
Well,
keep going.
a bicyclist rammed into my mom's horse. My mom fell off the horse, and the horse fell on top of my mom. So my mom got a she got a massive brain bleed and a major hematoma on her leg. And like after she got out of the hospital initially, they noticed that the leg wasn't healing. And my stepdad, who's a plastic surgeon, drained it. Sorry to say gross things, but they did what they thought they could do to resolve it. And nothing was working. She wasn't getting better. And this all happened on like it all came to a head on my birthday when she was in the ICU. So another synchronicity.
Nice.
Things are happening on weird times.
This all just happened recently?
Yeah, my birthday was May 6th. So
happy birthday.
My mom fell off her horse on like Cinco de Mayo. So I guess maybe
last month
about it. Yeah. So this is all very new. Okay. And I've been really feeling like I need to go back to California to visit my family, but I've been feeling too sick. And so to travel because it's just uncomfortable on planes and the whole peeing situation is just impossible right now. So my mom's in the hospital with a brain bleed in the ICU, okay? And a hematoma that wasn't healing. So she's back in for like the second time, right? She's in the hospital for the second time after the fall. And as my mom is in there and I'm crying a little bit because it's worrying me that my mom's back in the hospital, Wes texts me, my mother just died.
Oh, gosh.
So his mother and my mother were in the hospital at the same time that his mother passed away.
Wow.
My mother was in the same building where he has been there for me at times when he seriously didn't have to be, so he just despises that place, never wants to go back, the smell, just everything. And my mom, she eventually got out again and she got back in and the bleeding isn't stopping everywhere. And so she got sent to the same rehab where I went when I was paralyzed, and everybody there knew me.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, we love my mom. She came in there. She's like, we're ready to transfer you to rehab. Do you know what that is? And my mom's like, well, unfortunately, I do. My daughter's a T7 paraplegic, and that's where she recovered. So the person like changed their face and they're like, oh, okay, so you know where you're going. But my mom gets there, and literally, because I volunteered there for 10 years after I was paralyzed.
Wow.
So I was always playing the bingo and the Uno and doing the rhythm therapy. And it really gave me a reason to get up out of bed in the morning on Fridays and make sure that I showed up, because it gave me so much joy to go to all these people that had all these different knee replacements, hip replacements, burns, amputees, like all of them, and explain to them, okay, this is what PT is. This is what OT is. This is what speech therapy is. And over the years, I'd tell my family that, I can't do this on Friday because I have to do my volunteer work. And my mom said to me, I totally understand why you do what you do, because now I'm going to become a volunteer too. And I was like, well, I really want to come back to California and be with the family and be close to the family. And so maybe one day we can all be volunteers at rehab together, but I just don't know how to come home because I don't feel like I can physically get myself there. And so in a twist of events, Wes is going to not be able to stay in the home that his mother was renting, right? And so my family was just pressuring me to ask him if he could help chaperone me to get home just to visit my family after my mom went through this and after my grandmother just died on the 1st. And he said yes.
Wow.
And so I feel like it was an answered prayer, because I just feel like I really need to reconnect. I haven't seen my family for a year, and there's literally no one else on earth that I would feel comfortable exposing my sickness to and trusting to help me so that we don't have to like hire someone to cat sit so Jason doesn't have to take me.
That's the wild thing when you look at a blessing. So in your mind, your friend helping you get to see your family, that's a blessing. But with all the trauma that just happened in his life, him getting to reconnect with you on this trip, it's got to be a blessing for him. So it's pretty wild how it all connects, you know?
It's beyond my comprehension because I often think the 10 years he spent with me, what if during those 10 years he could have advanced more? Nobody expects to lose their parents when they're young. So he's suddenly alone, orphaned, with his sister who's 15 years younger than him. They don't have a place like they have to make huge decisions very, very fast. And I always wondered like what would happen if the mother passed away because she had a very negative attitude and was a severe alcoholic and even used to call me the fat cripple when I wasn't even fat. So she wasn't. So I'm so sad that she's gone because that's his mom. But it's like such a trippy story because now that she's not there, he's going to have to figure out how to move forward and how to take care of himself. And I need so much help. And my family just wants to give him money to help me because they don't want me to get hurt or, damaged in the travel, and just make sure that someone's there who understands and has been through the worst of the worst. So it's a very unconventional and weird situation where it's like, what? They're exes? But it honestly is just in a weird way the most synchronistic, mutually beneficial situation. You know what I mean? Because my mom and dad and stepmom, they love him so much for everything he's ever done for me, but society will look poorly on him because he's a starving artist. You know what I mean? Well, why doesn't he get a job? Well, because he's married to his art. So what if there are some people out there, I'm not saying, oh, this person was born to serve me later in life. I'm just saying that it is what it is. Like, this is what the situation we're in. And I want him to know, guess what? I'm so sorry your mom is gone, but I'm going to make sure that you are going to be supported. My family is going to adopt you, and we're going to get you to have a life, because I know that that would be his mother's only wish, just to have stability and a life after her passing.
Yeah, and the thing is we don't understand how God works. We never will, but we can see how he can use anyone. If you can see, am I sharing this thing? I really like this. Found this years ago.
Yes.
And so once again, if you think God can't use you, and you can look these up. Noah was a drunk. Abraham was old. I mean, they didn't think they could have kids, and look what he did. And Isaac was Jacob was a liar. He stole his brother's birthright and he pretended to be him and stuff. I mean, and it says this in the Bible that Leah her sister was beautiful and Leah was like kind or something. I mean, the way he describes Leah, she was not pretty on the eyes, Yeah, right? Joseph got abused. He was sold by his brothers into slavery and tried to kill him. And Moses had a studying. You can go through all these and realize that when God has a plan for you, it doesn't matter what your issue is, because he's God. He can use you in any way that will help not just yourself, but others around you. And so the fact that this whole situation is working out for you from all this pain and misery, it is a blessing. People be like, the people are like, how could this be a blessing? Look at all the people that got hurt and injured and died. But through that pain, good things can happen. And so I don't believe God's in charge of that. That's Satan's world that we live in. But God allows things to happen, and he can use that to then advance us in our spirituality and our faith. Because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with our mortal bodies. It's about our eternal life with him. And so all of this is just like a staging ground for us to become who we're supposed to be. And I feel God can use me in ways and expects things out of me that I don't even see in myself. And maybe I won't, or maybe one day I will. But regardless, he can still use me to do things. And like, for instance, this show, I've said this many times. And in fact, every time I bring this up on a show, I get that one email. I do this show, obviously. I mean, God bless you all. If you're still watching, thank you. There's 120 people here. It looks like it's that's what YouTube says, anyways. Like, share, and subscribe, please. But it's not for a massive audience, obviously, but it's for that one person. Maybe there's just one person I'm supposed to reach tonight, and give them a moment to think and say, all right, is all this real? And see if he has that, or she has the moment. And that's what it's about. And so I can't explain how we're all used, but the fact that I grew up Jewish, not believing in Christ or the Bible, and then had a complete 180-degree turn, it helps, I believe, in my credibility, maybe is the word, to explain to people why they should look into the things that I'm saying, because I didn't believe them either.
So growing up, because I met Wes when I was, I think, 18 years old. And then I was paralyzed when I was 19. So like there was like maybe a year, no, 17 to 19, I was walking. And I'm total atheist at the time, right? Like I'm like, oh, I'm going to university and, evolution, blah, blah, blah. I want to be, academia is right. I'm trying to spend money to go into academia because apparently they're right. And so, every now and then he'd say a little something there, because I know he went to Catholic school, but he would just like make jokes about it because he's a funny guy. And but he would say these little things like, I don't know, there's something there. And I remember thinking in my mind, oh my gosh, I can't believe that someone so smart and intellectual and funny and clever could think that there's something there. Like, what is he talking about? Like, why does he think that? Maybe he's just brainwashed by Catholic school. And so I can tell that he always had this kind of faith, but maybe he just wasn't the kind of person to broadcast it and just not be vocal about it. As, everybody, chooses how much they want to talk about their beliefs. But he did mention that the death of his mother made him lose his faith. So that also broke my heart, because while he's saying he's losing his faith, I'm gaining it. And so that's why I feel like Jason said that maybe he needs a role model, someone or someone, just because he feels totally alone, because it was always about his mom and his sister. So, and that's just all falling apart now because the sister has a boyfriend and it seems like she's going to move out and be with him. So here's the trippy thing, is that I love Jason and I need to have the cats here and keep the studio and all of my stuff. And I need to keep this house in Louisiana, and the goal is to get help becoming healthy enough so that travel is no longer an issue. And I told my parents that I don't want to move to California full time, right? I just want a place to be so that I can visit them comfortably without staying in a hotel and stay there for long periods of time. So that's a lot to ask. Like, mommy, daddy, you want to buy me $1 million house in California and renovate it to become wheelchair accessible only for me to be there part-time? And
let me know how that conversation goes.
What? No,
let me know how that conversation.
It's like I've been gone for a decade, and it's like I feel like the Odyssey, like I've been 20 years away from all I ever knew. I just gotta. Everyone wants me home. Everyone misses me. I think that the people in therapy really guilt trip my mom, like, get her ass back here. So it's like my mom was in the therapy where everyone wants me back, and my dad's mother just passed away. So Wes's mother passed away in the same week that my own father's mother passes away. Isn't this crazy? The synchronicities. So my dad's heart melts for Wes's heart and thinks, well, if we get you a place, Wes could be like the person who takes care of it, like waters my garden when I'm in Louisiana. And then I can be like the boss bitch that I was in 2008, where I was going on business trips. So I obviously didn't have a problem traveling when I was working for Citrix 40 hours a week and being able to get to my desk 15 minutes away from my house by, 7:55. even stopping in my parking spot to smoke a joint first. Like, I was so efficient and strong, and Wes believes that I can get healthy again. And so it's a weird situation, but my parents I can have my California place and keep the Louisiana place. And then the weight it'll lighten the load off Jason, who's become like a 24/7 nurse as my health decline. My mom and my stepmom and my stepdad and my dad will do everything they can to help me figure out my problem that I've been dealing with for 4 years. And so it just feels like the perfect time to pull the trigger, take action, and follow my intuition and try to heal myself instead of just keeping myself alive in a lonely position where I miss my family.
So that's going to happen, is what you're saying?
Well, that's my goal, and everyone seems to be on board. But for now, I think that I just need to focus on trying to get out there to visit and just see my family. I haven't seen my family in over a year. And so if Wes comes to get me, then Jason can watch the cats, and then maybe I could get onto some kind of like assisted.
So people could understand, because I do have a lot of new people in the channel. I didn't even know. It's funny. My wife and I, we would watch Rose on channels, and most, like even this, you just see me from here down, basically. We didn't even know she's. What do we say anymore? You can't say Haney. She's in a wheelchair. She's leg challenged. Is that what you say? I don't know, but I didn't even know, because she comes across with this personality, and it's no wonder that the people in rehab never forgot her. Because it was one of the blessings I got to do, was get to meet Rose, and she's a force of nature. And so I know God is working through you, Rose, even if you feel that you're not quite there spiritually. He is using you. And the whole idea that you're on this show tonight is because you and I have talked forever. We've done, I can't even count how many shows we've done over the years. We haven't done one in quite a while, but when you started talking to me about this thing that happened on your channel or Crow's channel with Eddie Bravo, it's just, I see God working through us all. Now, I know there's people out there, they'll say this guy or that guy is paid opposition controlled or what. I don't care. Anybody that is talking about the truth, the way, and the life through Jesus Christ is the only way out of this. The only thing that'll save you is by God's grace. Anyone that's on board with that, that's my brother. We're all brothers and sisters, but that's my kindred spirit that I'm supposed to be working alongside. And if he's watching, say, my show or Jen and Chapu or others, that's wonderful, especially after you told that story that he might have gotten that born again experience. I want to believe that, and I think that's great. And so when he has me on his show, then I'll discuss that with. I'm just kidding, but maybe he's listening. I'd go on it. I have a wealth of information, not just about the things I've learned reading the Bible all the time, but the shows that I do with, about how we're in the little season with the melted structures and the obvious evidence of God's destruction. I think it would be great. He has obviously a much larger audience than I do, but it's slowly getting out there to more people. Will we ever hit the big mainstream where everyone starts hearing this? Probably not, but I can pray for that maybe one day. But the more larger channels that start listening to these smaller channels with their ideas, it's, once again, I believe, the pouring out of God's Spirit. Because no matter who the person is that's speaking it, if they're speaking truth, it'll get out there. And that's how God can use any one of us.
I just want God to use me to help the people, especially the people that have helped me. And I feel so lucky for so many things. I really do. Did I ever text you the picture that my dad texted me last night?
No.
Okay. All right. So this is a synchronicity that blows people's mind. I don't want to get into the whole story of the day before and the day of my stroke. But one thing you need to know that I just mentioned was Craig, the quadriplegic that my dad was best friends with. And in 1980, he got into a motorcycle accident in Mexico. And back then, wheelchairs were not the same. I mean, they had him in all these contraptions. It was hell. And I'm going to cry, but he always had a positive attitude. And it's so funny because in his house, he had, statues, and the statues would be of like women with, boobs and stuff. And it was just funny to me. Like he had such a sense of humor, like classical Greek statues in his house. Like he had a very nice house in Calabasas. And then he would have guns on the wall that he could never shoot. You know what I mean? But they were just displayed. And he had a pool in the backyard that he could commit suicide anytime he wanted if he just rolled his chair into the pool. Like he just always wanted to have, he was always taking his friends on his wheelchair accessible, what is it called? A pontoon boat? Pontoon boat.
Pontoon.
Yeah. And go to spring break in Lake Havasu and just, be a host. So I kind of tried to become like a good host like Craig was, growing up. And unfortunately, it passed away in 2009. But can I show a picture of myself when I was 4 years old with
Sure, why not?
Because my sister Jamie, she has a superstition about wheelchairs now because of my relationship with him. And I don't really blame her because you have to try to pretend from her perspective, being my little sister, that you saw I had a special connection with someone in a wheelchair. And I happened to have been in a wheelchair the day before I was paralyzed. So that's where her superstition comes from. So it's like, and I can see that it might be upsetting for some people who knew me when I can walk to see the picture. But the picture for me really, really, really means a lot because it just reminds me of Craig's inspiration, because he had it a million times worse than me, where he always needed a 24-hour aide to feed him every bite, wipe his butt. Wow. And I remember when I was 4 years old, I accidentally walked into his bathroom and I saw the shower chair he uses with the hole under it. And it scared me. Like something about it was like, there's something not right. And I'm creeped out by that shower chair. Just a memory. Just a core early memory. Let me see if we could show this picture of me. I'm not trying to cancel. I want to click present, share screen, and then, but I don't want to do a tab. I want to do a window. Why am I suddenly not forgetting how to use StreamYard? So now, what if I drag? Oh, it's because I didn't save it yet, so I have to click file.
There are no experts.
I'm just going to do my entire screen.
As long as you know what you're doing.
So this is Calabasas.
Okay, hang on. There we go. No way, that's a little 4-year-old Rose.
Yeah.
That's adorbs. I love it. Look at that. See, and that's the thing, people. I met her in life, in real person, whatever you want to call it, in real life. That smile is still there. It hasn't changed. No matter what she's gone through, I saw that smile. So God's working through you. That's amazing.
What's on his wrist?
What does it say?
It looks like Hebrew.
Well, I guess, but it's just links.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it just
screen for you.
It looks like a chachalachahala or some kind of.
We're speaking Hebrew.
So look, he had a pen.
Yeah, that's like I saw. I told you that story. I saw a guy that he need that thing to move his chair.
Another synchronicity. I just got texted a picture with the thing that you were trying to tell me. Like, you can't write this.
Wow.
Look at him. Always had a smile on his face. And he was very, very successful. He had his own house in Calabasas and a pontoon boat. And you want to know what my dad asked him once? How do I zoom out again? But here's my dad. Look at him. And now I'm older. Nice. My dad is in that picture.
I like it.
Can you tell it's a new neighborhood in Calabasas?
Yeah. I love your dad's 5 o'clock shadow thing going. That's really cool.
Yeah, I miss Craig so much. Look at that wheelchair. I mean, it's just, I can't even imagine. It just looks like such a ancient contraption compared to what he
Yeah.
could have had now.
Wow.
I guess I'll just stop sharing that. But what was the other thing? He was a huge inspiration. He always had a positive attitude. So I accidentally didn't get to have a boo-hoo thing when I was paralyzed. But now that I'm getting older, I feel like I need to make responsibilities to improve my life for myself and those around me. And Jason and Wes, I just think it's so funny. It's like my team of men who I've been with. It's it's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. They all agree that it might be better for me to kind of just accept reality and get a pee bag. And it is just an emotional decision. But the fact that they're recommending it to me really shows that like, they just want me to find out whatever it is that will help me. Like, they are like, whatever it takes to make you feel better, because I wouldn't be able to meet up with you in another location right now like we did in Flattoberfest. So how much of a blessing was that we got to even meet before I got this bad?
That was the only blessing of that thing, but yes.
I agree.
I got to meet you, Jen, and Steve, and a few of the fans, and that was about it. But yes.
Meeting you is my favorite, and that's not, I mean, anybody, especially Jen. I'm just saying that.
We have to say that because you're on my show.
All things considered, the shit show that Flattoberfest became, that particular year, it was like the best to see you. And then it was at another location where it was the best to see Jen. And Jen knows what I'm talking about, because I had to go up a huge hill, and I really had to connive and manipulate human beings to get me to where Jen was. She has no idea the obstacles I overcame to be where she was up the hill, because I seriously love her so much, and there's nobody that cares about the truth like she does. She is a one-of-a-kind gem, don't you think?
Yes, she is. She's a very lovely, amazing person. I'm very pleased to have met her too. And it's interesting you bring up that ridiculous place we went to. I won't even acknowledge it, but I met you there, and the people running the event had it in where you had to go upstairs to get to it. I mean, it's like they don't even realize you were coming. Poor Rose couldn't even get food. I was there by God's grace. For some reason, we bumped into each other. Well, not that hard. I didn't knock her out of the chair, but I ended up remember this? We went through the back hallways to get through like the service entrance to get food. And and I remember another time, because I was the redheaded stepchild. They were all having dinners and stuff, and I wasn't invited. Boo-hoo me. But in any case, I remember being at that one restaurant, and you were there alone too, because they had gone to a restaurant that was an upstairs thing. And I mean, it's like they didn't care. But in any case,
and I had an anxiety attack, and you saved me.
You're having it. I did, yeah. And I remember we were sitting there talking, and I think I was praying with you or something, because remember there was that table of people, and they came over to us, and they said that they saw it, and they were, because they prayed together too and stuff. It's just amazing, like, without getting into all those different stories on how all these things, no matter how bad something can seem to you at the time, God can change it and give you a different perspective, and you can see the blessing behind it. At least that's how I'm seeing things now. And I'm not saying that once you make this connection to God, it's all roses. You're going to have trouble. I mean, you should expect trials and tribulations. That's the whole purpose of what we're learning here. But at the same time, the deeper your faith walk is, the more that you know that no matter what happens, God has you. He's there, and he hasn't left you. And so, like that thing you were talking about earlier in the evening, where you felt this peace and comfort or whatever, I just had the biggest scare of my life. I thought I was going to lose my partner, my Eve. I thought I was losing Jeannie.
That's what I wanted you to talk about and didn't want to bring up first. So finally, you're bringing it up, and now I can relax. We're covering everything.
Okay, yeah, I've talked about this the other night, but it's tough for me to talk about. And I thought I was losing her. And so first thing I did was I prayed to God. I asked Jesus to help. And I still didn't know if I was going to lose her at that moment. I called 911 at this point, but I felt this wash of comfort. God says the Holy Spirit, it's the great comforter. I felt it. I wasn't worried. Whatever the outcome was, I knew it wouldn't have been good for me if I didn't have her anymore. I'd probably, feel I'll go to pieces. But I felt calm all of a sudden because I knew he was right there with me and taking me through it. And as it turned out, it worked out and she's still here with me by God's blessing. But it's that feeling of peace that you have that can only come from God, because we're all going to experience throughout our lives. I was going through stuff just the other day, but now that I realize that there are things that we can accomplish and there are things that we can't accomplish or figure out on our own. And rather than cry out and forsake God and say, why would you let this happen to me? And woe is me. You're supposed to cry out to him and say, I can't handle this. I need you to either help me through it, take me around it, or do it for me. And since I've had that mindset, it's brought such great peace to my life. Even if there's things that are still troubling me to this day, I have some family issues that I cannot get over, but I've given it up to God. As they say, let go, let God. I've given it to him. He knows how I feel. I pray about it every day. I know he's going to answer my prayer. I just don't know when, because his timeline's different. I hope it's within me still being alive. But regardless, if it's about trying to wake somebody up so they can save their soul, then it doesn't matter if I'm alive or dead, if it happens. And he knows what I want. He wants everyone to be saved. This isn't like special children anymore. Jesus didn't come down for the Jews, for the special children. He came for everyone, right? Where's my guy? Jesus came for everyone. Everyone! So the Jew, the Gentile, whatever. I really believe at the time I was Jewish, I thought I was doing it right. And then fast forward, whatever this is, 40 years later, I realized that no, I got what do they call that when they gatekeeped within that Jewish religion. I was told to stop when Jesus shows up. But if you power through that, you realize that's not true at all. Like, he's the only God that people talk about that sacrificed himself for us, right? You don't hear about Zeus doing that. He'd never do that, or Buddha. And here, I'll show you this. I don't know have you seen this thing? It's just a minute long, and it explains it perfectly.
Yeah, play it, do it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. It
Clickety
is
clickety click,
right.
clickety.
That's what I'm doing. I'm clickety clicking. Here, this one. Check this out.
All the Eastern religions and all the cults.
Can you hear that? Did you hear audio?
I can hear it, but I'm going to echo. Well, actually, it doesn't seem like it's.
Well, you can mute yourself. I think that if you mute yourself, it'll work. But just see if you can hear it.
Okay.
All the Eastern religions and all the cults and all the world religions, they always gave some credit to Jesus Christ. The Muslims say that he was a prophet. The Christians say that he was an incarnation of the Godhead in his age. Yogananda and all these different Eastern teachers said that he had Christ consciousness. They always use words like Christ consciousness, Christ this, Jesus that. The Buddhists would even say he was a Buddha. He was another incarnation of God like Buddha was. And in all my searchings, I saw that all these people were pointing to Jesus. They're going, well, yeah, Jesus is one of the ways, but we're one of the ways. And they wouldn't all agree on anything except that Jesus was one of the ways. And then I looked into the Bible. I did this all through intellectual reasoning and laid it out on the table and figured it out that if they all gave him credit and he only gave himself credit and they all agreed on one thing, that he was one of the ways, and he only agreed that he was the only way. So I figured I had no choice but to go with him. And then I started praying to Jesus.
Isn't that something? An atheist filled with logic. What's that?
I think, I don't know if I said absolutely or unbelievable. That's how bad my short-term memory loss is. I'll tell you any episode of Crow 777 Radio.
Okay, all right. But isn't that something? Yeah. So that's kind of how I was. Like, I didn't believe any of this stuff. until I went down on my knees and asked for that moment, and boom, man, it happens.
May I make a public service announcement about the idea of Christ consciousness?
I'm not sure what that is, but go ahead and start.
So I think that when people attach the word Christ to consciousness, they're acting like we can ascend to be something like Jesus ourselves, when really we are incapable, we are fallible, we are not as good as Jesus, and we need him. So that's the error in the Christ consciousness. If it takes that sneaky Luciferian vibe to it, where it's like, oh, I don't have to ask Jesus for forgiveness. I don't have to live like Jesus, who is perfect. I'm going to become enlightened and an avatar like him. So that's the incorrect outlook that people will use the word Christ to apply to their own rhetoric, which is not congruent with what the Bible teaches.
True. Yep. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 100%. That's the thing. And a lot of people, most of the people I find, a very small percentage actually read the Bible, and including Christians and Christian channels, they don't read it. And the hating channels definitely don't read it. And the thing is they'll take things out of context. And so there is a passage where Jesus says that we will be able to move mountains and, do the things that he does more spectacular. But he doesn't say that because we have elevated our chi and whatever, new age garbage, that we've enlightened ourselves to where we can manifest our own world. That's not what he says. He's talking about your walk in faith, because as Paul says, all things are done through Christ, through the power of God. Now, we will be able to do those things, not because we're more special than our neighbor. It's because we've made that deeper walk in faith with Jesus, with our God, with our Lord in heaven. We've made that connection, and the deeper it goes, the more we will, quote, be able to do through his power and through his grace. And at the end of the day, it even says in there that, like, was it the three guys he talks about? I think it's Moses, Noah, and I don't forget the third guy, is Elijah or something. He says in the end, they could only save themselves. And the caveat to that is nobody actually saves themselves. We're saved through God's grace and our works. Now, our works don't get us into heaven. The works will just come with it. When you drive your car, you shouldn't expect a parade every time you come home because you didn't crash a house or hit someone. You should just know that's the right thing to do. And so when you are changed and you're in Christ is in you, you do things like I said, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because you can't do it the wrong way. It's like a magnet trying to touch the wrong side. You can't do it anymore. So the works are just expected to come from you. But it's your faith in God that brings his grace that saves you. I hope I said that right. So, you there?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember which of the things I wanted to address related to that, because I had so many things to say while you were saying it, but I don't think I was able to take notes. But yeah, there's so many synchronicities. Now I remember what I was thinking about as you were talking about just all of the different synchronicities and how I mean, how Jewish people think about Christians. So my dad, an atheist, marrying a born again Christian, literally everyone was talking about it, And my cousin Mike, who I think you may have seen him come on shows with me before. He's like you. He's a Messianic Jew, and he got baptized, and his whole life is about Christ. And I was just thinking that something is causing me to do this. I don't know why, but I'm turning on a voice message to him right now. So I'm recording myself right now through a text message. And so, cousin Michael, I'm on a show right now, and everyone can hear my voice sending you this message. And I'm talking to my friend who also found Jesus, who's just from a Jewish family, just like us, bar mitzvah, just like you were bar mitzvah. And I just thought it would be an interesting experiment if I sent you this message right now, even though it's late at night, and if you could send me back anything you'd like to put out to an audience about your experience and what you would say to people who are on a spiritual path. So type something back to me if you want me to say it on the show. Okay, I just sent him the message.
You sent who the message?
Mike.
Oh, okay.
Genie.
Sorry, I got distracted because you know what? We have the TV on down there that it was like Jeannie sometimes watches the show down there, but then it gets confusing because it's on a delay. So she turned it to screensaver, and there's a giant koala on the TV. Just saying, I got distracted.
Oh my God, that's so funny. No, that's meant to be synchronicities. That's what tonight is all about.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's see what else. I do have this one too. Have you seen this video? This is a good one too. This one.
Wanted to create fish, he spoke to the sea. When God wanted to create trees, he spoke to the earth. When he wanted to create us, he spoke to himself. What happens when you take a fish out of the sea? It dies. What happens when you take a tree out of soil? It dies. What happens when we become disconnected from God? We die. God is our natural environment. We were created to live in the presence of God. It is only in him that life exists.
Right? I like that one too.
My best friend Kelsey is a born-again Christian, but I didn't find out about it until after our partying years. And our first conversation when I asked her, so what do you mean when you say you have a relationship with God? And she's like, it feels like having a best friend that's always mad at me. And I just thought that's funny. Just know, I mean, I'm sure she would say something a little bit different if she was asked in a serious manner, but it was just a casual conversation between us. And so, like I said, you know, growing up, California beach babe, not really like promoting that she's Christian, but by the time she was diagnosed with cervical cancer, a rare form of cervical cancer that she got because she was selling her eggs while she was trying to be an actress in California and not being successful with that. So she sold her eggs and she was just totally ignorant. And she was injecting herself with hormones every day before the harvesting. And it was shortly after the fourth harvest that she got like this rare form of cervical cancer that like only 80-year-olds get. And it's so interesting because even though I wasn't religious at the time or spiritual, I know she had faith because of the way that she was speaking with me. And she was moving and she had just moved to Hawaii, so I couldn't be with her. And it's really weird. I just knew that she was going to be okay. And she had faith and I just knew it. And maybe other people would have responded differently. Like it was more serious than it was because it was like, I mean, not taking it as seriously as it was. And it was really difficult for her because whoever she was dating at the time, you know, didn't care about like her situation enough to join her to doctor's appointments on Oahu because she had to go on an airplane for her cancer appointments. And the doctor told her she could never have a child. And it broke her heart because she had sold her eggs and then then she was lost the ability to have her own baby. And what do you know? She had faith. She had faith and she had a miracle baby. And little Sienna's so smart. Her little daughter, her little baby, who's now like 12, I love her so much. She has such a great personality. We're always talking. We talk about her algebra homework. And she was explaining to me like how blood works and like how diabetic blood is different than regular blood. Like it's amazing. And I was like, wow, it's so great that you're interested in these things because I would rather do algebra, you know? So it's so interesting how these humans just become such beautiful people. And she wasn't supposed to exist. Little Cece, her name's Sienna. She wasn't supposed to exist, but even though Kelsey made that mistake in life through free will, doing this weird thing, injecting hormones, selling eggs to God knows who. And here's another insidious thing about that. This is just awful.
And that's the other thing. We're being deceived and then we make wrong decisions. And it's wonderful. God was able to help her conceive again.
Yes, exactly. The doctor told her that it was not possible for her. That he said, I removed too much of your cervix. You can't have kids. So she didn't think that it was possible, and then she had a miracle. It literally was a miracle, according to the doctor. So it and this is these things, these cool stories. Why don't I have any of these stories that happen to atheists?
Right.
I only
Right.
have it with people who are of the Christian faith, the documented miracles. It's very interesting. And then, of course, you have the people faking it for money, and so you have
Right.
to use your discernment and never like accidentally share an obviously retarded.
And I'm going to go on. I've said this before, but I'll go on record again saying most people that say that they spoke to God and God told them to do this or buy this or do that, I don't believe it. I don't know who they're talking to, but that's never, at least my experience, that's not how this works. I think the days when God's booming voice would come to someone, not saying the prophets still didn't hear him, but those he's not doing it that way. He says we're not going to see it that way. We're going to see it in other ways. But this is the generation that's supposed to have faith without seeing the works. And so I feel in some ways, as cool as it would be to, like I said, the Gospels are some of my favorite because you can pretend that you were there seeing this go down. Even though we don't get that experience, our experience is even more on another level that we have to believe, we have to have the faith, and then we get our eyes opened and we have to look for the evidence of God. He's all around us and he's doing things all the time. And even before I knew God, when I look back on my life and some of the things where I had, near death experiences, accidents or whatever, and so did my wife and other people, and yet we survived them. And that was by God's grace, but back then I was like, wow, I sure was lucky that I didn't die in that thing or whatever. But now I look back and it's like, you want to say there was a guardian angel, whatever you want to call it. But it truly was, he was there in my life, maneuvering things around to get me to this position that I'm at right now. I mean, Jeannie and I tried many times to not be a couple. We were just friends and we just never dated. And then one day we went and said, oh, maybe this will work. And so I just feel like up there, God must have been going like, oh my gosh, they just don't get it. Right. And then we finally got it. And he's like, finally exasperated. Because don't forget, Jesus said this all the time. Like he would ask God, his father, like, how long do I have to suffer these people? Because, it takes a lot to get through to some of our thick brains. I'm just saying. And I'm one of those.
I'm sorry that I get distracted from the chat, and I'm sorry if I'm maybe speaking about something that's a party foul, but I would like to vocally say that I'm very disappointed that I didn't get to see what happened in the chat.
Well, it's all right. We're doing this show. The chat sometimes goes off on its own tangent. I wouldn't worry about it.
No, I would like to say that I am highly disappointed that whatever Melanie said got her banned.
Let's not even bother with that. Anyways, where are we going with this? This isn't about one person. This is actually about.
No, it's just about conduct in your chat. You are the host.
I've only had one rule. It's been the same since inception. Don't disparage the host, the guest, or disrupt the chat. And if you do that, you get banned. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how special you are. I'm just sick of it, and I'd rather not even discuss it. So
okay, we're
it's
done.
Already had way too much attention for me. Okay. Here. Let's see. Can you see that? Am I sharing? I think, yeah. Okay. Where's the one I was looking for? Yeah, for me, I have a video on it, but this is just a sampling of the things that we're arguing over and stuff. If people that still think that we're not in the little season, I mean, when was there ever a time of such deception that people argue over every single thing on this list and more? You know what I mean? And then from there, you go to things like this. We believe that man can create this, but this was an accident. the eyeball and how it works. And this was what I was looking for. This one. This is for people that don't quite understand it. We're all part of the same energy. And when God says that we can do the same works, it's because God's in us. And so he created this. He is God. He created us. I mean, it's just, this kind of tells you everything in it. All of this in this realm that we live in, it's a learning experience to, if you want to talk about elevate us or whatever, that's what it is. And once you get to the truth, I don't know if it's the final, but for me it is, that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. That's it. It's not a religion. I'm not religious. I think all religions are corrupt at some point. All the organized religions, doesn't matter what faith you are, they've all been taken over. And so I've said this before, and I'll say it again tonight. You can make your spiritual connection with God through Jesus right now, tonight. All you have to do is ask for it. You don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to know the Bible or any of that. What I do say is reading the Bible is going to help you because, as I said before, it's going to teach you your past. It's got things in there to like help you. If you're dealing with something, you can read in Psalms or Proverbs. There's some really good wisdom in there. And then you can also read some of the stories, say like Revelation and things, to see that where it's going to be taking us. Because even if we have experienced the end times and Revelation happened in 70 AD, and then Jesus came back, as he said, there was a 1,000-year reign of Christ, and now we're in the little season, pizza. Even through all of that, once you realize they're going to try to run the same scenario. If Satan is deceiving us, and let's say we're in the wrong timeline and we're actually in the very end of the book after the millennial reign, then he's going to run the playbook to make it look like we're heading into the beginning. And there's a lot of people, I think, that are going to be, if I'm right, the rug pulled out from under them. And there's probably a walking away from faith, because if a lot of people are waiting to be raptured, and if that happens, it already happened, and they don't get raptured, they might get really depressed or upset. Whereas I'd rather go this way, thinking if that all happened and the meltology and God's judgments and things like that can show us that it happened, then I'm going to be thinking that, okay, if that already happened and Satan's going to want to release his version of tribulations, we're at the very end of the book, and I'm still waiting for the same thing as the people think we're beginning Revelation. I'm waiting for the return of God to then do the final judgment, and we'll be done with this. So if you're waiting for the beginning of tribulations before Jesus's reign, you're waiting for God. And if you're at the end of that, you're still waiting for God. So we need to remember that and keep our eyes on it. I know they want us all to fight each other about everything, but at the end of the day, I'm still waiting for the same thing that the people that call me a heretic for believing this way, I'm still waiting for the same thing they are, the return of God to end all this nonsense. And that's where I think. What do you think?
I am blown away right now because I decided to perform another experiment, and it's going to be so amusing to you. I pray that Jen is still here.
She pops in and out like I do, but I'll tell her later.
I'll tell her about it or send her a clip.
What happened now?
I thought I'm going to open up a tab and I'm going to click, is there a random Bible verse generator, where you click one button and it gives you a random verse. Okay. So first, when I share my screen and I show you the Bible verse generator, which is the name of the tab, I'm just trying to drive home the idea of this word here, random. So I clicked this button, the generate random verse, while you were talking. And this is what came up. And I don't even understand it, and I need you to translate it, but I'm blown away that it has to do with bricks. So take it away, Ceiling Fan Man. What is my... Oh, you weren't even sharing it to...
Oh, no, I didn't. You didn't say share it. I was waiting for you to say something. Okay.
You have to look at your screen and see that I have a screen for you.
Okay, you can tell.
Okay, let me go up. Let me see, like, everyone, look at the button that says generate random verse.
Okay.
The website is BibleVerseGenerator.com. And I click the button and it says this. Now read it out loud and then explain it to me. And also, I just think it's trippy. It says bricks and it's a sign.
Oh, let's just say here, the bricks are fallen down, but we will build with hewn stones. The sycamores are cut down, but we will change them into cedars. Wow. Okay. First of all, that's pretty cool that it's connecting. But yeah, I mean, there's what do I get out of this passage?
Yeah, what do you
It's
get
like,
out of it?
well, it's like we were just discussing, like bad things can happen in your life, but God can turn that into a good positive thing. You just got rid of it, but yeah, he can make anything that seems bad into a positive thing. And sometimes the things that happen in our life that are bad are ways to wake us up, and then the good things come, because there's a passage that says that you would hope that God would see you and leave a blessing behind, and that's kind of the way it is. When you get to these trials and tribulations, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to be woe is me, like the friends of Job? Or are you going to be like Job? God even says at the end of the day of that passage of Job, he says that he says he hopes that you should hope that Job prays for you, because no matter what happened to Job, and he has some really horrible things happen to him, he never forsake God, and he just asked eventually for him, if he can't please him, to take his life. That's when he gets in trouble. But overall, he did the right thing, and so that's what I see from that. I don't know about the 10 others you just went through, but
Well, I'm just trying to find another good one that's relevant to what we've talked about. I'm just even seeing if something from Job comes up as I keep clicking. Corinthians, for godly sorrow worketh repentance to salvation, not to be repented of, but the sorrow of the world worketh death. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to do all this now, but
oh, sorry, let me get out of here. Sorry.
Yeah,
Wait. One more thing.
Beer and stuff,
There was one thing that I wanted to play when you were talking about how much we love Jeannie. Please, it's.
Oh,
please.
you got something you want to show? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Elder, are you content with me?
Of course.
Wait a minute, you can't. I'm going to get a strike for that. They look like Saturday Night Live people. So.
Oh, but you know what I was talking about though?
No, what happens in that?
Oh man, she goes like, "What would happen if I died?" And what he responds with in his alien voice. Oh, how about I look up the line and read it? Hold on, it's gonna be great.
That'll
read
work.
it.
Yeah, we can do that. I can't play Saturday Night Live.
Okay. It's not Saturday Night Live. It's the movie. I guess that's worse. Okay, so
that's where it came from. Coneheads. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I know. Okay, what in Coneheads, when the wife asked Beldar what would happen if she passed away, what is the verbatim line that he said back to her, including the word shrivel? So they get it right. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering who you're asking. I don't know this.
Did you hear I was typing? Okay. If for some reason your life function cease, my most precious one, I would collapse. I would draw the shades and I would live in the dark. I would never get out of my solar pad or clean myself. My fluids would coagulate. My cone would shrivel and I would die, miserable and lonely. The stench would be great.
I think we should have ended the show about 20 minutes ago.
That's all I got. End on a high note.
All this great talk. I love it. And then we end with the shriveling with the cones. Yeah, and you did do. Yeah, I agree. That was some great narrating. Yeah, I agree. But we used to do that play acting all the. I did one with you and Alex Stein. It was really funny. That guy's still hilarious. I know a lot of people hate him, but whatever. He's funny.
Yeah, I wish we could find that.
I don't know what else. Are we good? I think
nothing. I mean, we've been doing 3 hours. I think that's plenty. We've given.
They got their money's worth.
Did everyone type in the chat?
Right.
Well, their money's
worth? Let's not do that. But hey, everyone, thank you all for being here. God bless you all. I really do appreciate the people that show up here. I appreciate all the the fans that help us out through donations, and also the ones that write me emails or snail mails. I love those too. Please write those, and I'll answer them all and answer questions when I'm asked. I just do appreciate the interaction that I get. That's why I like doing the show live. I never really wanted to do live shows, and now I'm kind of addicted to them because I love the interaction. So, and thank you, Rose. God bless you. It's a pleasure to talk to you again. We'll do this again. And I guess I'll end with this, with a prayer that, dear Lord in heaven, please watch over us and guide us through these times. Continue to give us the patience and the understanding as we wait for others to find the truth that we're speaking about. And we thank you for the blessing that you've opened our eyes and opened our hearts to be able to speak these things and to hopefully help others find their way, because we're all together in this, brothers and sisters in Christ. And there's some of us that are lost and don't even know they're lost. And so we'll wait for them as you can continue to fill our hearts with peace, comfort, and joy through these times. And if we're hurting, we ask that you give us the heal that we need, whether it be to our bodies or to our souls or hearts. We need you now more than ever. As things are amping up, we see the evil side creeping out all over, and we need you to pour out your spirit and fill more of our hearts and minds and souls with the love that only we can get from knowing you. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. So there we go. That was our conversation about looking for God. Hopefully someone found it tonight. If you happen to be that one person, write me a letter. I'd love it, or an email. It makes the angels in heaven cheer, and it makes my heart swell. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Rose. And don't forget, here's your plug. There's going to be it's on Eddie's channel or Crow's. I forget what he said.
Eddie has a podcast called Look Into It, and Crow is a guest. So if you see, in a few weeks, you might Google Eddie Bravo, Crow 777, and you'll see the most recent interview Crow did with him. So you can see, skip to the end to see the amazing Synchronicity. And then I got my channel back. It's not the account that I've been using in the chat, but it's Rose 777. And if anyone out there in the chat in Ceiling Fan Man's audience is interested in being interviewed, I really want to interview non-crazy, positive people who are in the Bible as well. So people could help steer me by sharing your knowledge with me, because if you're a friend of Ceiling Fan Man, then you're a friend of mine, and I want to know you better.
And if you happen to speak to Mr. Bravo, tell him I'll come on there and talk melted buildings and Jesus all day long if he wants.
I wrote him the email, and I'm dying that he hasn't written me back yet and trying to do it myself.
Excellent. All right. Well, with that, I think it's time to wrap it up. So you get this, he said, with a knife in his leg.
Class is dismissed.
All right. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you again, Rose. And,
good night. Thank you. Bye.
We're out of here.
We're out.
I'm the satellite.
500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat.
Satellite transfer complete.